So, last time, does anybody remember what happened last time in Falonkort?
We have a dead friend.
Uh huh.
And he's alive now.
The
I still think he's dead.
I forgot to pick up my damn order.
Ow.
I was too busy plotting to kill Alfred.
well, Sunder has fallen. Fire and Fey overran the city, destroying the homes and families of 3 of you. By grace of your patron, you were able to teleport out of the city before going down with the ship, seeing a Wendigo's jaws open before you as if time were moving slowly before being lifted through darkness and landing in Cliffcrag. There you gained information on the intents of the Secret Peace, a shadow organization aimed at helping more or less the entire continent outside of the rule of government. You met several high-value individuals, purchased some supplies, and were given gifts by your patron, Gurki, before he took his leave. You tried teleporting to Rowanwood, the city of elves and home of the Diversium, a magical center of learning and exposition. You missed by miles, ending almost in the middle of the ocean on the coast. You traveled towards the city, being stopped first by an Empire agent exiting the Rowanwood district skirting the coastline. You also encountered a phoenix hunting and drove it away. Entering Rowanwood after some more travel, you met more important individuals, including an elf named Samael, who tongue-in-cheek bragged about helping with the churning of Sunder. You faced trial alongside him for crimes committed, which were ended with the judgment of Vorik's death. After having his neck crushed by the dire wolf named Torrent, Pelnell was allowed to resurrect him, but for some reason the spell went awry. The raised individual seemed not to have any memories from the previous body's inhabitant, primal in nature, finding comfort in the beast that ended his previous existence. A new individual raised and in being part of the former individual named himself Rick, for the time being, at least. Completing your mission of exploring the topmost layer of Rowanwood for enchantments and supplies, you leave the city, teleporting to the city of Red Ash. And let me adjust our settings here a little bit. In Red Ash, you are hoping to tie off another end of your leads by finding a man named Jacob Foster, who didn't deliver the 500 gold piece item to Gurki, and therefore Flint, that he had ordered for personal use. To the best of your knowledge, this individual resides north of the city, and Lord Bainbreeze has ordered an investigation on the man a couple of days ago, seeing his name was mentioned on the Empire's missive. Now, as Munson completes the spell and lifts you all up into darkness, your essences are whisked away to a place the caster has only heard of. A city floating on the water, a center for trade on the eastern coast between Falonkort, Rhinemoor, and the northern sea area of Strayhall. As your feet touch down, it takes some time to orient yourselves. Sound comes before vision. You hear rushing water, splashing, reeds brushing up against tall grasses. You hear birds and people chatter in tandem. Your vision brightens and comes into focus, revealing docks. Large spanning docks, wide and long, all have boats, ships, and schooners tied on. Buildings are a mix of different architectures, mainly elven, but also foreign designs. Double-arched stones, and everything is covered in vinework and tapestry. You stand on the northern border of the city, unfenced. Buildings and docks begin about 50 feet before you, and there are people running about the dirt streets and wooden docks carrying wood and paper packages, and people are sitting in alleyways from your vantage, eating strange fruits and meals. Light begins flaring into existence as people cast spells and light oil lamps on ships as the day grows late. Rick, you and your company straighten yourselves up, beginning to stand on your feet and survey your new surroundings. As you see the ships in wide perspective, with people walking about the docks and the ships, moving supplies and lighting candles, sails fluttering, your vision flashes. What you see is replaced by images of yourself manning a ship. Flashback to the massive ships before you. Sharp pains behind your eyes force your eyes closed. Cold. Blizzards at sea. You don't know how much farther north you have to sail, but you've been told it will be worth it. You're trying to obey your captain, but the ropes are frozen. You aren't enough. 2 men can't. 3. You can't adjust course. The foresail is stuck. Cracking wood, hard rocks. Your fellow sailors march inland.
Yes.
Well, I've lost my place here. Where did it go? Okay. Not much further, you hear your captain say. Darkness. A new vision. A woman laughs in a swamp as lightning courses through the last of your fellow crew. You duck, falling beside the inanimate body of your captain. The woman looks at you, smiling. You see a couple of the fallen start to rise. Elves. As they do, their bodies contort and writhe in unnatural ways, twitching as their skeletons crack and grow. Rising to their feet, antlers burst from their heads. The woman then dominates your vision as she gets closer. Another for the mother. Her hand reaches out, and you feel rot seeping into you as she bestows your curse. The rest of you see Rick collapse and convulse in front of you as he begins to writhe on the ground. Blood and water start to stream from his eyes. What are you doing?
We landed in that city area you said?
Yes, you landed in that in the city area. It's like just outside the city, between the city and the forest, on the north side of Red Ash. What you believe to be Red Ash.
Helena, I think he needs help.
Already there.
Rick, the vision tears from your mind, and you see Pell standing over you. Your eyes close again, and still convulsing, your vision shakes, and you see Pell coming over the crest of the hill when you first met him. Him flashing forward to him placing his hand on your chest and removing your curse. You open your eyes to see your friend once more, and the seizures stop abruptly.
You alright, buddy? I'm gonna roll medicine.
Okay, roll medicine.
That's a 14.
14. He's had some sort of mental break just now. It seems to be an actual medical condition, and he just had something spark a seizure in him. And by the way, Rick, you're going to take 6 points of force damage.
Well, what just the fuck happened to him?
I think he had some kind of seizure. Hold still for a minute, buddy. You don't need to be. Don't move around so much, so real quick.
Well, I'm not really much of a healer, but if something like that happens again, I can just put him to sleep. That's about the best I can do.
Um, Rick's gonna kind of look around like when he was first brought back. That same kind of confused fear kind of on his face as you say water was draining from his eyes and his mouth.
Water and blood, like
Okay,
like a thinned, separated blood.
so he's coughing more like he's drowning
Hmm.
at the moment.
Fair enough.
I was just gonna get like a little handkerchief out and just like wipe his eyes and his mouth off. Just be like, it's all right, it's okay. We're gonna make it another day. And I'll cast Healing Word on you.
Okay.
You get 5 if you can get healed. I forgot. I don't know if you can or not.
We're about to find out.
The spell seems to take effect. Like it doesn't heal any of the obvious wounds, but it seems to calm Rick ever so slightly.
I'm going to put my familiar in the air and have him kind of fly through town as they're doing this, and I'm just gonna have him just inspect where he's going to see if he can see anyone that I may recognize. So I'll go into his vision and listen for like people saying what kind of town we're in, the name of it, see if I hear anyone say Red Ash, like merchants. I just want to take a brief second, as I know there's nothing I could really do for what happened to Rick here.
Okay, and you said this is the eyes of your familiar.
Yeah, Mal.
Okay. Roll perception with your owl's modifier.
That'd be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. The owl takes to the air, and you see the city in different perspective. A long river, and the city seems to wind along the river. The owl gets large, a large, wide view of the entire city, and it has the shape that you expected, swooping low and circling back down into the city. You see people moving things from docks. There are dockmasters yelling things back and forth. You don't hear the word Red Ash in direct context to this city, but you do hear people talking about moving things from this port to that port and skirting around Sunder, and how this shipment has to go all the way to Fisk, so it has to go inland, but this one needs to head back out to Alakra, so go out and take the Eastern Sea down. And judging by context clues, you do believe you are in the right area.
As I get there figuring that out, I'll just take a full minute, just kind of sit in his eyes and look around while they do what they gotta do.
Hey, pal, do you think that the blood that was coming out of his eye looked weird to you?
I mean, it was coming out of his eyes, so that's pretty bad in and of itself.
Yeah, but it looked not like normal blood though. Looks a lot thinner, don't you think?
It looked like it was mixed in with like water or tears or something. Can I investigate his eyeballs?
Well, judging just on your last medicine check, you also have to take your judgment with some salt, because this creature that you're evaluating is not a typical humanoid. He doesn't seem to. He has open wounds that are not detrimental to him, it seems, but his physiology seems altered. So, while your medicine check was well enough for something as common as a seizure, some diagnosing something like that to something with a different physiology would be borderline impossible for you.
Not to mention he hasn't breathed a breath yet.
Yeah, he's all sorts of fucked up right now.
Well, keep an eye on him, pal. He seems to trust you somewhat, and I frankly don't trust his current state at the moment. Something just feels off about him to me.
Yeah, you just gotta think of him like a puppy dog.
That is one fucked up puppy dog, man.
He's a good boy.
Uh, just keep an eye on him, that we're just, I don't want him causing trouble when he's clearly got more than enough to deal with as is.
He'll like try to pick him up if he's laying down.
Rick, what do you do?
I get steps out. Gets
Come on up, buddy.
kind of taking a forearm and very I'm trying to think of the word here. Or say he takes his forearm to wipe his mouth, but it is not as successful as it should be. Think of it like a toddler attempting to do it.
I'll just take a little handkerchief and just help you. Be like, here, this is spot.
Munson, anything?
You look over at me and my eyes are rolled back.
Well, I don't think you would have heard me, but oh well. So what do you guys think? You think we're reddish or not? I mean, it definitely looks very red. Doesn't look very ashy, though.
You've been here before, haven't you, dude sexy? I mean, Flint?
To Red Ash?
Yeah.
Not that I recall.
No, I thought you just knew the guy.
No, I was supposed to meet the guy who knew the guy in South Sunder. You can see how that could be a problem now.
Sons of bitches.
Sounds sketchy as fuck.
I don't know where to start with you.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and walk over to the nearest person and just ask, excuse me, what town is this exactly?
The person in the alley that you approach that has this offshoot of water leading to the main river, he's just sitting leaned up against a building. He's like picking some sort of seeds out of a fruit that looks like an elongated pomegranate or something. He's popping them in his mouth. You're in your Red Ash. You lost, friend?
Nah, we just teleported here and we're just making sure we landed in the right area. Thanks, my man.
City of Trade. Safe travels.
You
He keeps
too.
eating his fruit.
I head back and I was like, well, we're definitely in Red Ash, so shouldn't be too hard to find a place to rest up here.
Well, the day is getting late, and you have the choice of entering the city and finding a place in the city to rest eventually, if you wanted to. You also have the choice of just trying to go straight northward in search of your destination in Jacob Foster, because you heard he was living outside the city in the north. You don't know how far or where he is, but that's kind of what you're looking at right now.
What do you guys think? Inn or a tavern for the night, and then we'll head up there in the mornings. We have no idea how far it is.
Well, if we stay in town, we can at least try to figure out if he's like around here or anything.
And maybe I can find something that will help my skin condition.
You look gross.
Yeah, don't remind me.
You're bald, I forgot.
Like I said, don't remind me.
Oh,
I got scales gone from somewhere else, too. Not a pleasant feeling.
Is he
You wear
fully? Is he fully like descaled, or there's some here and there?
No, there's beginning to be little strips and patches on top of his head starting to go back, like he's starting, like balding is what I would equate it to. But there's no large chunks or big, large patches or anything like that yet.
Rick wants to like approach him, think of it like Smeagol would, and like pick it like a bald spot. I'm picking a scale off.
Mhm.
I'm just taking my fingernail and picking at it.
Liking what you feeling?
He's just go. He'll make eye contact with him, and then just go back to picking at the scale.
I just gently take your hand. I just lift it off my head and just lower it next to your body. I'm like, pal, I thought you had him. I'm already losing enough scale visit. I don't need any help.
Yeah, he's just trying to help you.
Well,
Get him.
I think for the hand, but don't think I need help with this.
He just
What I
needs
need help is to find the damn cure. Is there a, do I see like a market, like area just nearby where we're standing?
Say that again.
From where we're standing, do I see like a trading area or anything that would represent like a open air market?
You see people moving goods back and forth throughout this entire city. There are open little stands with various things, a little bit of everywhere.
Okay. Hmm. All right. I'm gonna walk up to one if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna inquire about the glitter fire flowers and see if anyone would know if there's anyone who's selling such a flower.
You approach somebody, and it seems like they are selling what seems to be cloth, like barrels and reams of cottons and silks and things. And you ask them about this flower, and they retort that they're not an expert in any kind of botany, and surely there might be some vendors nearby that might know more. But if you're looking for something in the Glitterfire Peaks, those things typically tend to be of Cliff Craig make and acquire. However, um, you might be able to find some things on the eastern side of the mountains, and there's also someone, a recluse who studies stuff up there. They're not really sure who they are or what they do, but they believe that there's a small outpost because there's many outposts throughout the Rowanwood, many smaller villages and towns and things. They believe this person, this researcher that they're kind of aware of, barely, is about a day's walk into the forest, headed north.
And you said that he would be the best one to talk to about this.
If you're not wanting to go to Cliff Craig, then probably.
All right. Well, I thank you for the help. I would definitely see about checking up on this person. I'm gonna go ahead back to the party and be like, hey, if possible, tomorrow, there's this location, and I just kind of point them on a map.
And on the map, you're pointed about a day's walk north of. Did I move you guys? Yeah, here we go. I need to move you guys. There we go. So she pointed you about a day's walk north of Red Ash. So we'll say probably somewhere in this area is where you were directed to.
Okay. It's a bit of a hike because it seems like there's gonna be a mountain there.
At this time, we'll say it's bordering on the 7 o'clock, 7:30 ish time frame. So the sun will set in about an hour. Do you,
Alright.
do you want
Do
to?
you believe how far north we would have to travel? After seeing what the owl, like, obviously are we in the southern part of the town, or are we
No, you're on the northern part of the
owls
city.
inspection? So we're already north of the city.
Yes, you're already like 50 feet north of the city.
So it could be farther. So it could be farther out of town where the gentleman we're supposed to be trying to find is.
Yes.
Um,
Do you want to make a head
I'm
start
all
into the
about the
forest?
outside sleeping. I think I'd like to head out and sleep outside myself. But
Yeah, I've been in town way too much lately.
yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I want to sleep out here.
That's alright. We can make a little camp somewhere.
Yeah, be like real fighters.
Alfred,
Yeah.
looking around, before you is the city of Red Ash, which is mainly canals and the large Red Ash River with reeds, bamboos, and vine work, shrubbery kind of life, all in this area. Behind you is the northern half of the Rowanwood Forest, which is tall trees and a very lush forest. You're not sure what resides in the forest, but it looks at least like it would be a temperate, uh, humidity and temperature controlled environment. So it wouldn't be uncomfortable as far as the atmosphere, at least.
Um, the river creek that we're near, does it seems pretty deep?
The little canal that you see before you is probably a couple feet deep,
Yeah.
just like
So
maybe
not
two feet deep.
okay. So nothing actual deep enough to be exciting.
Nope, not really. It's just a little channel that's fed by a small creek in the area, as are many of these. Some of these are just inlets where the cities and buildings were built around the river, so this might be just a little floodplain where the river comes up to. But some of the areas are just fed by little waterways that feed into the river.
Okay. I will kind of look it up. Right, like, hey, we don't really need anything in Red Ash at this moment. We are trying to head out of Red Ash to the north, which I went up with my owl. So if you said something to me earlier, I didn't hear it, but um, we are in the northern section of Red Ash, so we need to go farther north than this to find Mr. Flint's battery man.
Well, it's a good
Indeed.
thing because I would like to go north to this lonely outpost. There's a person there who might be able to get me a cure for my skin condition.
Okay, well, Dave Flint, do you know how far out of town or location wise, or the guy in South Thunder was supposed to give you more like a coordinate direction?
I'm really not certain.
Do you
I
know
need
the
to
name
reach
of
out
the
to Gerke.
location?
Okay, are you going to reach out to Gerke?
I'll do that now.
Okay.
Yeah, we got these rings.
So, lifting up your hand and activating your ring, you place your finger on the stone and rub it like a genie lamp, essentially, because you don't know what else to do. Then you are free to speak to message your patron.
Hello?
Ominous.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hello? Gerke. We've arrived in Red Ash. Can you hear? Can you? Are you sure this?
Okay. That message is sent, and after a moment, you get a reply. Yes, I hear you. Why are you in Red Ash? Are you going towards Mr. Foster? If so, I would like to be pulled through for this event, please. Please have one of the others message in response.
Hey, who wants to give me their ring?
Stay
You
away
talking
from
to
my
her?
ring.
I want to talk to him. Tell lifts his finger up. Hey, Gerke.
If, after a moment and the message concludes and sends, if you could hear someone grab the bridge of their nose, it is overwhelming.
I kind of licked my finger. I was like, "Alright, Goblin Man, how do we get you through again?"
Hi, Pelinel. Can you please have Munson message me about your current intent and whereabout?
What'd he say?
It sounded like he was aggravated, kind of. Munson, can you tell him where we're at and what we're doing?
Don't tell him about my skin condition.
No one cares about your skin condition, Alfred. You'll be fine.
Good.
Flint, what is the name of the gentleman that we need to find? I forgot off the top of my head. Been teleporting so much I don't remember where the hell I'm at half the time now.
That's the problem with teleportation spells.
Yes.
So-
So here's the thing about my notebook.
You ate it.
Boom. What's his name?
Jesus.
What in the world?
We are a useless bunch, aren't we?
I just rolled a 21 on history check. So,
Yeah, I see. Jacob Foster is the name of your supplier.
Jacob Foster, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Perfect. I will. I'll message Mr. Gergie, like, we are in the northern sector of Red Ash, attempting to head out. We are looking for Mr. Foster for the exchange for the battery, I believe. Out.
Correct.
Okay. You get a message back almost immediately. Excellent. If you would please have Mr. Pelino open the two-way satchel and retrieve the rope, please.
Okay. So I'll look at Pelina, like, hey, open up the satchel, and you should have a rope in there, two-way rope, or two-way satchel with the rope. Pull the rope out.
All right.
That
I'll
was
open
right
it up.
wording. Pull the rope.
Pelino, as you take out the green bag of holding from Gurki with the G inlaid or stitched onto the side of it, you open it, and as you open it without having to do anything, just a section of rope just pops out and dangles over the side. You grab it, being pretty obvious with your hand, and pull it, and it's heavy. You set the sack on the ground and pull it upwards, and at the end of the 6-foot section of rope is your goblin patron, and he pulls himself out of the bag and is dangling from this rope.
Good job, Pell. You managed to catch a wild goblin.
I am very surprised that went as smoothly as it did. Thank you very much.
Do it again. Do it again.
And as you set him on the ground, he takes the rope from you gently and puts it back in the bag. Looking into the bag, feeding the rope down through somewhere, and then gently places his arm in there to drop it, closes the bag, and hands it back to you. There, that should be easy retrieval for later. So, you say we are in Red Ash, are we?
Northern sector of Red Ash, yes.
I see. Well, I haven't been here in a few years.
I've never been here.
Well, if we're heading to Mr. Foster, we have about a day's travel that way, and he points generally northward. And,
So I thought I'd been to Red Ash. Turns out I'd just been sitting on a rock that had been in the sun.
easy mistake, I suppose. Anyway, we have about a day's travel. It is already evening, but you'll find that the accommodations in Red Ash are not that luxurious, seeing as how most people either live here or come in on ships that have quarters for them. So, I think it's best we just head into the forest and make camp relatively soon and see to our own selves.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. It didn't really look like a camp inviting style town, in my opinion.
Yeah, we seem to get in trouble every time we're in town too, so
Yeah.
you just hate that.
So, yep,
I mean, if you had to
start
put
heading
something
northward.
down on a recommendation, there's something that we are good at doing.
Killing ourselves?
Well, getting into trouble at least.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I was
I
putting
don't
the
know about you guys.
percentile versus how many of us versus how many times we've died. Our percentile's pretty decent, so just curious.
I was going to say basket making, but, yeah. Sure.
I mean, really, the only one who managed to get themselves killed was the
Wow.
one who's an infant at this point in time.
To be fair,
Did
two
you-
of you have died.
Yeah, didn't you die on the mines?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I died, but I
He
didn't
decided
die.
to charge into dark blackness. And
He died,
didn't
but
know
he
what
got
to do.
better.
Hey, If it wasn't for your
I
dog,
died, but it didn't take.
Well, wasn't for my dog, I'd probably be dead. So I accept my dog.
You see Gerke just starting to walk into the forest.
Yeah, I follow as I talk.
so this supplier, I mean, where, like you said, it's in now about a day's away. Is it perhaps by chance in a outpost on the other side of the mountains?
He's kind of a hermit of sorts, respectable in that, but he's on the edge of the forest, bordering the foothills of the mountains, sort of area.
I chuckled to myself. I think I'm looking for the same guy for a different reason.
Well, two birds, one stone, all that, always efficient.
Yep.
Come on, Rick, let's go.
Well, entering the forest in the evening, it's a very pleasant walk. How far do you guys want to travel? Because
Well, let's travel all night if we need to.
I would say, let's see, 7 o'clock. You got here. I'd say about an hour till sunset, and then I would say let's set up camp before it gets too
Yeah.
dark and it's hard to set up.
okay, an hour's walk in is a decent amount of time. In the Rowanwood Forest, there are many things. There are many different creatures, and you haven't been here before, nor have you researched the cataloged life or history of what is in this place. You don't see anything of major note traveling at this time of day, but you hear a lot as you walk. You hear little chitterings of animals, um, rustlings of leaves of both plant life dropping leaves for the season and maybe animals rooting around for food or other things. Sorry, Moses, did you say something?
No, I sneezed.
Oh, bless you.
Does a particularly sizable animal happen to run in front of us?
Nothing particularly sizable, no. You don't
So
actually see
just
anything.
small things like rabbits and squirrels.
Yeah, you don't even see so much as a deer anywhere nearer than like 100 feet of you. For if you get any closer, they tend to up and run away. So while you don't see anything immediate, this area has a different aura. It's not a creepy or untrusting aura, but it's a sense of autonomy, of intelligence. This forest is not sentient in like the trees have eyes sort of situation, but um, it's more druidic in a sense. Eventually, you find a spot clear enough to make camp if you wanted to, right off the side of the path as the sun fades.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I will um, do a quick search around us from air with the owl and see if he sees anything that would be troublesome. If not, I would go out and see if I can gather anything for camp, whether it's food of sorts, berries, whatever, in this area.
Okay.
And while he's doing that, I'm going to do an Arcana check of the surrounding area. Just take the first one because it lagged a lot.
You're doing a contract for what now?
Just the surrounding area to see if there's actually anything magical about the forest or anything like that. If I can sense anything.
Okay, well, you have two Arcana checks done there, so we're going to ignore those because you didn't ask me first, so I don't know which one's which. So we're going to roll fresh.
It'll be the first one because like I said, I went to roll again because it didn't roll and it was just lag. So just take the
Well, no,
first.
we'll ignore those because that was before everything. So you want to search the forest for anything Arcana? Is that what you mean? Like you're checking the forest for magic in general?
Yeah, like you said, like we had this feeling like there's druidic kind of feeling, and I want to kind of get a more detailed thing on that. Like see if there's actually one of the trees in the area.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I'll let you roll either Arcana or Religion for that.
It'd be Arcana. My religion sucks.
Okay, so go ahead and roll. Just remember to ask me first before you roll.
Well, you were talking and I wanted to let you finish, so.
Okay, so 21 for Arcana. Looking around the forest while Pellinol and Flint and Legbor help get camp set up, Munson is going back and forth between retrieving firewood supplies and searching for herbs and fruit, and scouting with his owl. You are looking at the make of the forest, the foliage, the layout, and the air, and trying to get like a sense of how this place operates, why this place exists. Is there magic involved in this, or is it simply nature? With a 21, you gather that this place has nothing but a divine touch to it. Not that there is a sense of protection on the forest, not that there is anything feeding or growing the forest intently, but there is something inherently magical, as if this place were inspired by divine workings or is in some way sacred.
Would I know what type of, like, divinity?
With a 21, no, you would not.
Okay. There's nothing magical about this place. However, there definitely seemed to be some divine touch to the place. So, whatever religion that it may be, I suggest we do not piss it off.
Munson, I'm going to have you roll me a nature check, please, on your retrieval of firewood and berries.
That'll be a 14.
14? 14, you're able to find a respectable amount of firewood, enough easily to last you through the night. It's not very cold yet, but it'll keep you cozy and keep your area well lit. Berries, you find a couple, nothing enough to make a solid meal, but you do find 2 small little bushes that are enough to get basically a little snack together for each of you. Like each of you can have a small handful of berries.
I'd probably snack on it while I'm getting wood, actually.
Okay, fair enough.
That way I keep my energy up as I get wood, as wood is decently heavy.
Is there anything else that anybody wants to do at this time before you bed down and try and find some rest?
I'm going to cast Lehman's Tiny Hut.
Okay.
What is it?
Lehman, hold on, I'll just put
The tiny hut.
yeah. I cast it as a ritual though, so I don't have to spend spell slot.
Sounds good to me.
Huh, never heard of that spell before.
That's amazing.
Well, whenever you get back with the wood, I'll create bonfire on it to get us a nice bonfire going.
I like how a 10-foot radius you can somehow fit 9 creatures of medium size or small.
For,
I know, right?
for real. So are all of you going
Like,
to
it's
be...
only 10-foot radius. All of us can fit.
So Munson returns back with the firewood, basically at the same time that Pell finishes the casting of his tiny hut spell. Seeing what you're doing, Pell, Gurki casts his own tiny hut separate from yours to give you guys more space and probably give himself more space a short distance away. So the question now is, with a fire beginning to kindle and camp cleared and getting set, is are all of you going to stay in the hut, or any of you not? And are you guys going to stay up in watches, or are you just going to sleep?
Hell cast that, which he's a friendly teddy bear, so he'll invite everyone in like normal. So,
Yeah.
I think what I'll do is I think I'll get the fire going and I'll lay by the fire, and then I will cast my hound next to me.
I'm going to decline the offer, at least for now, and sit outside by the door and just keep watch.
Let's just do this for ease. Everybody can place themselves on this map where they think they would be. Gurky is on the south there. That's where his setup is for his tiny hut, and you guys can make your own setup wherever you choose.
So next is fire
I'm trying to remember how to. Okay, there we go.
with my dog.
So where are the entrances to each of the huts?
The
So
huts,
the huts are just like invisible domes, is what they are.
Oh,
yes.
really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep, it's a bubble.
All right. Well,
Like inside the dome, nothing can see in it. You can't see. You can see out of it. They can't see in it. They can't smell anything. They can't see anything you do in the huts. The huts are basically immunity to pretty much everything passing by. It's pretty cool.
really? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
interesting. So yeah, I'll go ahead and go into the hut since that's the case. I thought it was literally just like a hut that just sprung up.
No. It's literally a magical protection layout.
All right, interesting. Man, that is a useful spell.
Very useful.
Okay, so I see 4 people inside of Pell's hut, but Flint and Munson are choosing to stay outside. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody keeping watch, or are you all just planning to take your rest individually?
I'm taking first watch.
I basically have a 30-foot radius protection around me with my dog, so I'm good. I will sleep through the night with him there.
Okay. So, first watch. Go ahead.
Well, Pale will he'll tell Alfred just to wake him up later, and he'll, even though he knows like the hut should be good, he mostly just wants to look at the night at some point.
All right, no worries.
We should be
Okay.
good. I just want to make sure.
So for the first
yeah, it's
watch,
just my warrior thing. It's just always good to keep an eye out.
Alfred, I'll have you roll a perception for me for the first watch.
All right, perception. And there's some lag on these rolls. Holy crap!
Natural
Ooh,
20.
20.
Awesome. In the first watch, actually nothing eventful happens. The forest is quiet and a little eerie for you, but nothing too bad. The fire is crackling and very calming. You are within the hut, which makes it so you cannot feel the fire. You are in moderate temperature, which is very comfortable, but not outstanding. And nothing much happens that you can see. And that goes all the way up until the end of the first watch. About, we'll say, 2 hours later.
Alright, I'll go ahead and wake up Pell and let him stare off into the darkness for no apparent reason. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of, for the next like hour, like, I'm gonna stay up a little bit longer. I'm just gonna kind of, practice a little bit of my magic here and there. Just nothing crazy, just get the magic flowing.
Okay. So, Pell, I'm going to have you roll a perception check as well for second watch.
12.
12. Okay. 12, you don't notice much, but there's nothing, no real noise for you to pay attention to. You kind of wall yourself back and forth, just kind of swaying and waiting and fidgeting with your thumbs and maybe kind of humming to yourself a little bit. And watching the fire, looking at your friends sleep, making sure everybody's happy and comfortable, and seeing them comfortable makes you a little drowsy. But you stay awake, but you don't notice anything for most of your watch. Looking around at your friends, Munson is sleeping by the fire with his. He told you his hound was out somewhere. Flint is asleep in his bedroll outside. The other friends are inside your bubble here. Ugbor is fast asleep, getting his rest. Now, what, Alfred? What do you say you were doing? Are you resting, or were you doing something else?
I'm doing something else. I'm just like basically just throwing little cantrips in the air just to kind of get my magic flowing.
Okay, so
Since
you're
it has
just
been a little while
so,
since I casted magic.
some magic practice. Got it. No
Mhm.
problem. Um, and so you see Alfred is just practicing his arcane works. He's doing hand gestures and popping some sparks in the air and going through motions repetitively to work his muscle memory and things. You look over to Rick. Rick is just sitting there, staring absently forward towards the fire, not breathing, not moving, just sitting. But you're not sure what to expect from that.
He'll like move his hand in front of him, see if he reacts to it.
Rick, you don't feel like you're noticing the Pell's hand in front of you, but you do feel a, a a compelling force driving you to look upward.
Just gonna look up then.
As your vision pans upward, ignoring your friend's hand waving in front of your face, you look up through the bubble that you're in. In the sky, there is the moon, known as Saloon, in the sky that you're familiar with. It's been there for all of your life, at least your remembered life. But something is in the way. The celestial body, known by its dietic counterpart of Malar, rotates directly in front of the celestial body known as Saloon. The smaller moon is about half size by comparison, and as it shifts to be almost directly in front of the larger orb in the sky, it shifts in hue. Amber, then maroon, crimson. You hear in the otherwise quiet and peaceful woods a howl call out. Snickering laughter from something like a bobcat rings out. You start to sweat, feeling heat building in your chest. The forest space you're in becomes bathed in a ever so gradually consuming red light from the moon, and you actually start to breathe quickly. Slow at first, but your breath comes quicker and quicker until you're panting. And Pell, you're seeing this happen.
What's going on? What's up, buddy?
I kind of look behind me towards Pell after hearing him. So do we actually see the red moon, like the red light and everything in the house, or is it just
Yes.
him? He's here.
Yes, you guys are seeing what's happening. You guys are seeing that the forest is shifting from dark and a very dark shifted green from the light of what was the moon and the firelight around you in the green forest to everything is now turning into a dark red color.
I'm gonna go ahead and just start yelling out to Munson, Ugbor, and Flint, and maybe even Gurky to wake up, because I don't like this. This is not good. I don't trust this, and I'd rather have everyone awake just in case something comes out.
And if you guys would be if you guys would be so kind as to duplicate your current setup on this map for me real quick. I've already taken a picture to post there for reference if you wouldn't mind.
Alright, I'm gonna try. Okay, there we go.
Your dog is big. Well, your dog is big because the grid system is off here, and it's weird like that.
Yeah, it's fine. Alright.
He's giant. What do I do?
Why is this so massive?
Dear God, he's sexy.
Bro, don't judge.
Oh no, he's hot.
So hopefully with me yelling out to Munson and Flint and all of them, they're not going to be surprised at whatever the fuck pops out.
Okay, so I'm going to adjust this right here because this is how it was on the other screen for a second. There we go. Okay, so Rick has begun breathing, and at that he is breathing quickly and staring straight up at the red moon in the sky and not responding to your addresses to him. Pell and Alfred are the only ones awake right now. What are you doing?
Tell you I'm going to put him to sleep.
I mean, you can try.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and try to put him to sleep.
Oh wait, he's an elf. Shouldn't.
God damn it! Wait, maybe I don't know. He said his physicology changed, so he might not have
Okay.
the elven trait anymore.
Well, okay. Are you just casting it normally?
Yeah, just normal,
Okay.
first level.
So then you need to roll the 5d8 for the spell.
Can I roll nature about the moon?
Nature or religion, yes.
Alright, religion, because I fucking have nothing in nature. Well, it's a crit. So 24.
24, okay. Alfred, what's your roll on the sleep? The 5d8.
I'm about to,
There we go. Okay.
oof.
Well, Rick has more than 18 health, so your spell does not take effect.
Well, just to go along with that as well, my deathless nature for my racial trait is you don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep.
Oh, so it is also an effect, yes. So either way, your spell wafts off of him like mist in a breeze.
I'm completely useless in the situation, pal.
Now,
Wake up, Ugborg.
now,
I bitch slap Ugbor awake.
Pell, your roll was what, a 26?
24.
24. With a 24, you know, especially based on your recent readings at the Diversity and the relationship between Saloon and Malar, and you know of the celestial bodies that physically represent them in the sky, in the within the crystal sphere of this existing world. And while this hasn't happened in your life or your experience, you have observed the moon, the Malar moon, rotate around Saloon, but only in readings have you heard of a actual happening of, quote, a Malar moon where the moon shifts red and all of Malar's not not servants, but like contingencies are forced into activation. And as you guys are sitting in this space, Rick, as the red aura seeps into the area, you feel your body start to expand. Your skin thickens and grays. Your face deforms and elongates. You stand up reflexively, trying to make room for yourself, and you're standing at like the barrier within this space, like filling the space as you stand, and your body starts to grow. Your skin grows muscle beneath, and your nose grows away from your face. Bones sprout and grow from below your nose. As your body stops growing, you are dominating this space in this little bubble, almost forced out of it. Standing taller than Pellinel if he were to be standing straight up, or yourself. You are currently hunched over this Luxodon type creature where Rick used to be, almost 9 feet tall, tusks that are thick and bulky and bent at sharp angles. Your muscles bulge from your shoulders and biceps. Your legs are as thick as trees. And as you look through the new eyes you have and look around at your surroundings, at the at your friends that you're physically dominating in the space, out at the campsite to your left and spanning across the entire section. First, I'm going to have a perception from everybody else individually. That is Flint and Munson, and I'll roll for Ugbor and Gurky to see if they wake up as Rick groans and moans and this loud transformation happens. You need
Well, I think he's a fucking were creature.
You said perception?
perception, yes, to see if you wake up. The DC is a 12.
Sleeping like a log.
Gurky is asleep, but Ugbor wakes up.
Probably due to my bitch slapping him in the face.
That did help, yes. Normally it's a toss up.
Nope, I'm still asleep.
Okay. Flint.
I rolled an 8.
I rolled a 10.
Okay, so both of you are still asleep. As you view the world through your new eyes, you look around and you see shapes and wafts of energy that aren't all natural to your vision. You see light blues and purples, transparent birds of some sort, half floating, half flying from tree to tree, almost in slow motion, wafts of ethereal energy wave as though they were seaweed and ocean current. As you view the world through true sight, you're experiencing a double vision of sorts, seeing both material and ethereal planes, and everything as it truly is. Everything is tinged in purples and blues, and currently illuminated in the moonlight, reds. You look at your friends, and they are as you see them, as you know them. All of them but one. And only Rick would be experiencing this. But as you look across the group you're traveling with, and you see your sleeping patron Gurky, the small goblin, he has a shadowed image surrounding and permeating his space of a curled up, sleeping dragon shape that is transparent but in his space. It's in his being, above him, below him, in the ground, and everything around him is dominated by this dark silver in color, metal plates for scales, jagged horns that looked like they were windswept back behind his head. But he's still sleeping, as is the dragon that he actually is. As you stand in your new form, hunched over, feeling the massive weight you now possess, you feel a hunger, a rage. Bite, eat, spread. Make a Constitution save for me.
With my current?
You would make this with a modifier, because in your new form, you get a +2 to your Constitution total. So whatever your Constitution total is now, you get an additional 1 to the modifier.
A con save +1?
Yes, a con save +1.
And then plus another one, so
Okay.
I already
You-
have +1.
You try to fight the urges, but in your weakened state especially, it is not enough. You feel the need to attack and spread your curse, and you see nothing but targets in front of you. I need everybody to roll initiative.
I told you guys!
In between the time that he was observing stuff, could I have done Vigilant Blessing so I can get advantage on this?
What's the cast time on Vigilant Blessing?
It's an action.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Alright, yeah. 17.
Munson, how do I pull their initiative rolls into the turn tracker?
Oh, we just gotta select our number and then we roll. But you can edit it to whatever it is that you need it to
If
be.
not, you can right-click the token, and then you right-click token up the top. You can add their name, and it will add them into the return order.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like my first one that I rolled actually. Fred, you're using this one. You used to have your own little thing. What happened with that?
I'm gonna
Okay.
grab some water. I'll be right back.
Get right ahead.
Alright, have fun.
Flint rolled a
So-
20.
So I just want to say that I called it.
How,
What you called? He's an ally. What are you talking about?
Well, I called the fact that something ain't right about him, and I don't trust it.
how in the world? How do I get stuff out of here? Welwick is in here.
What?
Okay. Hang on. Hold on. My thing probably goofed up. I got Vorik, Ugbor, Pell, Alfred, Flint, Ugbor again. How do
I only see Pell and Munson on there now.
I only see me up.
my thing's
Did you
messed up.
clear the whole thing?
Probably not. Let's do that, and we'll do it again.
So once it's fully clear, then yeah, you can either add us or we can just roll and then change it ourselves.
Yeah,
So I'll just
which
change
is,
it myself. This is fine.
yeah. Fucking hell.
One. Okay, got Pels in there, Munson, Alfred. I'm going to roll for Ugbor. Okay.
So, Pell, I just want to let you know that we're in a tight space. And
Quite the
you're
improvement there.
directly in front of him.
Okay, and
I
Flint.
just gotta hope I go before him.
Okay, Flint. What was
I
yours?
20 as well.
I went from 20 to 0.
Still 20.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the
Yeah.
20. 20's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
And his initiative is.
I'm asleep.
His dex is higher than mine. Yeah, we're both asleep.
His initiative is that he's asleep.
Me too. One thing that helps me is my doggo.
Okay, so Gurky, Ugbor, Flint, Pell, Munson, Alfred. Rick needs a thing. Get that out of here.
I need to add anything different to my initiative.
No. I'll give you a stat set in 1 second.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and roll initiative though.
Yeah, you should do that. Okay.
Hey, y'all lucky.
So,
I think I got
a
everything
little bit
here.
of meta, but he is like a were zombie, right? Is that what's going on
I'm
here?
essentially a were elephant.
You're aware of it,
Were,
yes.
like a were elephant that feeds on blood. And
Join the
We
Council
call
of
it a-
Initiative
We
rolls.
call it a werefont.
Where?
Were fucked. Exactly.
yeah.
Were.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've given you your modifiers there, Channing. So there's that. I think we're all good there. So at the top of the order, Flint. Flint, roll a perception check to see if you wake up again, since it's your turn. 15. 15, you do wake up. You wake up. Pell, can he see through your bubble? I think it's transparent, but I want to be sure.
I think it's a pet.
All creatures and objects are blocked from passing through it. Spells, other magical effects can extend through the dome or pass through it. The dome is opaque from the outside, of any
Yeah.
color you choose, but it is transparent from the inside.
Okay.
So he can't see inside of it.
Yeah. So, Flint, you wake up. You think you hear something, but you're not sure where it's coming from.
Excellent. I will, I guess. Make like a teen in a slasher film and investigate.
All right. There's only really two places to investigate. Gurky's hut and your friend's hut, where they're all piled inside. You take the obvious choice at 15 and go to your friend's hut, and you go there to investigate and ask them if everything's okay. Does anybody inside respond?
Rick turned into an elephant! Help us!
Mr. Frodo, it's an olifant.
And he looks very hungry.
I see.
I don't think you see
So-
the gravity of the situation.
Wake up, Munson!
Are you ready, Squimbly? Do we have to? Yes, of course. Here we go. Ha ha ha. And I grab a cigar out of my pouch.
Oh yeah, I
And-
forgot we have the pet frog.
Create an arcane cannon from my cigar because it is a tiny object. And I
Okay.
hand it off to Squimbly.
Okay. Is the arcane cannon already created? Or is it an action to do, or what's the status on that? I'm not familiar. I pulled up the thing and I see.
Oh, that would be an action. Okay, so I'd have to make it the next turn.
Yeah, because you use your action to investigate. So. So, are you doing anything else on your turn?
Yes. Just a sec. Let me see. Nope, that's it.
Okay. So next is Munson. Roll a perception.
Well, first question: would my dog sense any anger
Oh.
or some kind of hostility near 30 feet of me?
That is true. I don't believe that the sphere interferes with that because it's just spells going in and out. You would still sense the danger based on the sound and the atmosphere. Yes, the dog would sense that.
So dog's barking.
Okay.
I would assume I would wake, as that
Yep.
is the most sound I'm
Absolutely.
right with. I will stand, and because I don't see exactly what he's doing at the moment, I'm going to use my action, and I'm going to cast See Invis on myself, so I can see the dog, so I can see what direction he's like barking at, and then
Okay.
I will stand basically behind it, and end my turn.
Okay. So,
Still barking.
gotcha. Next, I'm going to roll with advantage because your dog is barking now. Gurky does wake up. He's going to wake up and not know what's happening, but he's going to ready something and sit inside his hut safely. Ugbor is next. He is awake. He's going to see the newly formed Rick in front of him. He's going to cautiously draw his sword out and ask, "You okay, buddy?" And he's going to ready in action.
Ugbor, hold him still.
Helena, what are you doing?
I'm gonna look at him, and I want to grab my holy symbol. I'm gonna say, "The Lotta Saloon saved you once. Hopefully, it can save you again." And I'm gonna cast Remove Curse on him.
Okay. Spell curses. Okay. So you're casting a remove curse on him. I'm going to roll a dice here real quick. Okay. As you go to cast remove curse on him, a ray of red moonlight strikes down from the sky, and as your spell tries to take effect and uh, augment the magic that is in him in some way, the red moonlight shines brighter on Rick for a second, and your spell is dissipated.
Well, as a free action, I'm going to get rid of the tiny hut.
Okay.
Um, I don't know how to get rid of the circle, so it's just going to stay there. And I'm going to go right here. Well, no. I want to block him. Like, well, that didn't work. I don't know what to do. He's probably going to eat our faces.
Okay. Alfred, your turn. What are you doing?
Well, hell, can I attack him now?
I tried to do what I could. You can do whatever you want.
Well, in that case, I'm going to step 10 feet back, cast mirror magic on myself.
Okay. So 3 illusory duplicates of Alfred pop into existence to either side of you.
And that's going to be my turn.
Okay. So, Rick,
Yes.
you're standing before all of your friends here, and you feel a need to bite and spread your disease. What are you doing?
Oh, they wait on you to say, I feel a need to feed.
You have dropped all equipment you had. The clothes that you had on your body are torn and ragged. Um, there's just scraps of clothes left on you. Some pieces are barely able to fit on your new sized form. So you don't have any weapons or anything. It's just as you are.
Who's closest?
Pell is the one right in front of you.
So, given Rick and Pale's history,
Okay.
can I make what would it be? A wisdom save, maybe?
I'll say.
To
You know,
fight against not going after him.
I'll let you make a wisdom save with disadvantage. If you can beat a DC 10, you would choose to not choose Pell as your first target. Your fail saves, you can't fight the beast inside of you right now.
I guess I'm going after Pale.
Alright, 18 armor class.
So what are you going to do?
Instinctually,
Okay.
I'll put some fire on it. Instinctually, I want to throw a dagger at Pale, but
You go to find the dagger in your psychic energy, and your body is not contorted to the way that you're familiar with, but even so, you go through the arm motions, and You don't find purchase on anything psychic or physical.
Oh. Well, then I guess we'll just let the creature take over. And am I within melee of him?
You are.
Believe now. Let's see if this works right. I don't know how to save this.
This is probably the only actual PvP we'll ever get. I like this though. This is interesting.
Despite your best efforts.
Hey, PvP and harmless prank are two different things.
So I assume Stomp takes.
Stomp is a strength-based attack. As is your other one.
Strength that. Okay. Well then we'll try to stomp then.
Okay, so roll an attack with your strength modifier.
No, it's not that well, but we shot into it.
Pella, you said you have a DC 18 or an AC 18. Is that a 4? Is that what I'm seeing here?
I think so.
Okay.
That looks like damage.
Would it add his
No, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
20 plus 1.
Yep, that's right. So it was a 4 to hit, which missed.
So what all would it add to that?
It's just your attack roll plus your strength modifier. That's all.
Okay. It wouldn't add any kind of bonuses into it, just straight.
Nope, just straight strength as you are.
Alright.
So,
I'm putting them in roll 20 is the reason I'm asking.
Yep, no
What
problem.
about like proficiency bonus or anything?
Nope, this would not entail proficiency.
Okay.
And I assume bludgeoning damage?
Yes, it will be bludgeoning damage. But Rick, the elephant, stomps in your direction, Pell, and he you're able to step back quickly enough that he misses you in the attack.
It does say con save.
If
but
it
I
hits.
assume that's if I hit.
Yes.
Okay. Alright.
Okay, are you doing anything else on your turn?
Yeah, multi-attack or anything?
Does not.
Oh, thank God.
I technically have 2 attacks because I'm a fighter, but I don't want to use that.
Are you high enough level 5?
Have 2. Well, I mean, I'd have to burn.
Action
I'd use
surge.
it. Yeah, I'd have to use
Yeah,
action.
he's not high enough warrior to do actually.
So, out of frustration, I'm gonna kind of get mad that I didn't hit Pale, and I guess go after Ugbor. That's the
Okay.
next closest target.
Okay, so you have enough movement you can move over there and get within range and then use another attack.
What is slam? Is it strength, dude?
Yep, strength based as well.
I have a feeling a lot of your attacks are going to be strength based.
You're a big old elephant.
Not to mention you're not exactly yourself anymore.
Well, ignore. Oh god. Ignore that. This says stomp at the moment because I don't have slam into this yet.
Okay. Uh, 17 is his armor class. So go ahead and roll damage on that.
That is. Oh. I'm just gonna do it this way.
Is it working? There you go.
Ooh.
19 damage. Okay. So you slam, after stomping in front of Pale and him dodging out of the way, you just charge at Ugbor and slam him with your shoulder, and he takes the bludgeoning damage. If there's nothing else that you're thinking you can do, it is Flint's turn.
Would Ugbor, as holding an action, would he attack back, or what would he do?
You know what? Yes, he would.
Said he was holding an action.
He was holding an action, and him attacking would be aggressive to trigger that. So, where is his thing at? Giant Slayer. There we go.
Now we get to see for the first time the effect of the sword, the enlarged sword.
So that's a 24 to hit. That hits.
Yes. Why is this
Why did that do that? That's not what I wanted.
correctly?
Oh no.
Get out of there. Cancel. Cancel.
So are you actually using the normal size blade, or are you using?
Okay, there we go. I used the Giant Slayer too. What we had in his inventory there.
Okay.
So 13 damage to Rick.
13.
Yep, 13.
Okay.
Good call, Munson. Thank you. Flint, what are you doing? You see, the bubble has dropped. You see now a giant elephant standing amongst your friends and attacking Pell and Ugbor. Ugbor taking a slash at him. Pell trying something and failing and getting out of the way.
All right. Well, I will. Okay, Flint will hurl a water balloon full of chicken fat about 3/4 of the way between himself and Vorik.
Okay.
No, he won't. I didn't do the arcane cannon thing.
All right.
I'm about to say, and where the fuck did you get the chicken fat from, and have the time to even put it in a balloon?
Yeah, I was assuming he had the
Don't want
item.
to know.
He was
Sorry.
really going to bed.
So he just has a balloon filled with chicken fat.
So I create the arcane cannon and hand it off to Squimbly,
Okay.
who wisely takes a shot. Brace for impact.
Take the shot, Squimbly.
That's a one out of a hell of a roll.
Wow.
That's a -1 and a net 20.
Yeah. Sorry, bub. God dang.
Great, which one did you shoot?
Squimbly, you're embarrassing me.
So which
you
one?
say so.
Which one of them did he shoot?
You handed Squimby a left-handed cigar.
Squimbly, man, now's not the time.
Okay. Anything else on your turn?
my best.
You're high as a kite.
Aren't you?
Not now.
What do you expect from an... What do you expect from an eternal being trapped in a toy robot?
I
And
mean,
that's
let's just be grateful that he didn't fall over when he shot.
He
I
can
don't know.
fly,
True, but I don't know if that thing has recoil or not.
and it is Munson's turn.
Okay, Munson, you're up, buddy.
Watching what's happening here, I'm gonna have my familiar kind of do dive bombs near him to distract, so I get advantage on my attack from my fine familiar. Basically, a help action.
Okay.
And I say, you know what? I gotta test this on somebody. So So I'm going to try to steel strike him.
Was that a fucking Pokemon move?
That is a natural 20.
Okay.
All right, bud.
Ho ho ho.
So
That's
12
12
D10.
D10.
yes,
force
12
Oh,
D10.
Jesus Christ. Is he going to
I
survive?
rolled a 11 and a 20. I'm like, oh jeez.
I'm just gonna have to bring him back to life again.
Right? He's going to owe you 2 days.
Basically, I look at him, I put my hands together, and as I pull him apart, my hands turn into like a silver shiny blade look, and then I kind of vanish for a second, and you guys can see me like spawn next to him. You see, like I slash through his body, and then I kind of port back away. It's super brief.
Munson just went anime.
Yeah.
He,
Pretty much.
he has the power of God and anime on his side.
Yeah, right now I do.
Hey, Chan,
Uh-huh.
remember this spell?
What spell?
Skill
That would
damage
be
strike.
79 force damage.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
79 force.
Okay, so at that, with 79 damage, Rick, how much health do you have left?
35.
35. That depletes the rest of your temporary hit points, and with that depleted, you begin to shrink after the pain hits you. You fall to your knees. The growth retreats back into your body, and you fall back into your undead, reborn self. And with that, you fall to the ground, not dead. If you would be able to fall asleep, you are now unconscious. But because you are reborn, you fall to the ground, eyes open, staring at the sky on your back.
Quickly, someone tie him the fuck up.
I will approach him after I do such that. Actually, technically, I can land right next to him with the spell. It says so right there.
Yeah, you like right beside of him.
Yeah, I can choose to or not to, but yeah, I'll do it. That's fine. I'll land beside him, and then I'll look over him and be like, I'm gonna obviously the wound mark obviously did really well. I want to see if his turning back, if all of his form goes back, his foot kind of shrivels back. I mean, basically, I want to see if he fully forms back to himself, the original Rick, or
Okay.
if this is just partial. Like,
No roll needed. You're actively investigating this thing before you, looking over the body and seeing Rick laying there, some version of unconscious. You see he's not dead, kind of, but all of his limbs have returned back to what they were. Some of the wounds have even started to heal a little bit, going from form to form, apparently. All of his size has retreated. The tusks are gone. The elephant trunk has formed back into his nose and face. His skin, while still having the gray color to it, it's the gray of Rick, not the gray of elephant skin. And you believe he is back to his original form before he underwent his transformation. But for having gone through that transformation, he is a little better for it somehow.
I'm gonna look at Pelinel and literally with like the meanest eyes I've ever had on this character, I'm gonna look at Pelinel and go, "Watch your friend. I'm going back to bed." And I literally just go back over and I lay back down next to my dog. I don't like being waken up in the middle of the night. Fix him, please. And I lay
Moon's
back
still
down.
red.
What's that?
Said, is the moon still red?
The moon is beginning to fade back into its opaque opal color.
Maybe once it turns back normal, I'm just gonna cast remove curse again.
Okay. You
And at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my mirror image.
okay.
So glad I didn't use
So-
my level 3 spell on my first turn. Whew.
So your mirror image has dropped. Munson is trying to go back to sleep. You haven't heard anything from Gurky yet. As you tend to your friend and see that he's mostly okay, you put your hands on him and try to remove curse again. And the magic comes through your hands, or from your arms up to your hands and swirls, and then just pops and dissipates softly on the body, not penetrating.
So, Pell, what is this goddess you guys worship again?
Saloon.
Does she typically do that kind of shit to your followers?
I'll be back while he's offensive.
I mean, you see me do it?
Well, no, but surely this isn't a common thing, right?
No. No, I've never seen a person turn into an elephant before.
I mean, I've seen elephants, I just haven't seen people turn into one. So, the fuck are we gonna do to him?
I don't know. None of my stuff's working on him.
I mean, I could just catch him on fire.
What time of night would it be at this moment?
At this time, it is just a little past. We'll say it's close to midnight.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm back to the wire, back to bed. Don't have time for this.
Here, I'll help you. I'll put you to sleep.
Well, you know, my dog will lovely take a sample if you get close enough.
I mean, it already did. But,
Go back to bed and lay there, just annoyed that I had to do such a powerful thing to somebody that I agreed to bring back, but I just more of an annoyance trying to sleep with the dog next to me. Assuming he's no longer barking now that that has happened.
Yes, the barking has subsided. The dog does not detect any more threats.
so, pal, do you have any rope on you or anything?
Yeah. 50 feet of it.
Well, you want to tie him up in case he does that?
I mean, he did turn into like a big ass elephant.
Yeah, but just tie him to a tree and it's 50 feet. I think it'll just give it a little some slack. I think he'll be, if he grows into it again, he'll, I don't know, get tied up in it.
Freak on a leash.
Yeah, essentially, yes. I don't know about you, but I would hate for any store owner for him to suddenly turn into an elephant inside their shop.
Ugbor, without much protest, after establishing everything is pretty well taken care of, just tries to get back to sleep. Is anybody taking the next watch?
Oh, I'm certainly fired up after that, so.
So you're going for another round of watches?
Yeah, I'll
Flint
go ahead and
will
do
do
another
another.
round.
Flint will do a round of watch.
Now, Alfred, if you don't
And-
sleep their hard amount of hours, you will not get a rest.
Oh, it doesn't count as a rest if I.
No.
Take a watch?
If Alfred takes 2 watches, which he technically already has, because he decided to stay up and practice magic, then he will not get a long rest.
Well, technically, like 1.5. But yeah, I'll go ahead and go to sleep then if Flint's going to take the rest or the watch.
Okay. So, Flint, I will have you roll a perception for me.
Okay. Before I do that, I would like to. So Squimbly is here, and now I would like to turn to him and say, "Oh, Squimbly, you know what time it is?" "Oh God, no! Please." And I cast Tiny Servant. and a little little penny operated wind up robot. Hey, Dad! What's going on, buddy?
I love it so much.
The fuck did I just hear?
Oh, God. Why did you have to? Because we're keeping watch, and more eyes means, well, we'll keep a better watch. Yeah, you heard him, Dad. I love this guy. Right.
So
And
with advantage, since you have so many eyes on the situation, roll perception.
This party is starting to come into a fucking circus.
Okay, 18. You feel pretty confident that relaxing with your two companions, bantering as they will, that you do not see anything in the forest nearby. Matter of fact, the commotion seemed to scare off most of anything that was nearby. All animals have scattered. The forest is very quiet. And if you were to look up, you would see the Malar moon begin to wane as it rotates out of view.
For a second, I thought you said it was gonna go back around again. I'm like, motherfucker.
makes sense that the animals would stay away. Children tend to find Anthony upsetting.
And without much more event, your watch eventually comes to an end. We'll say we'll have one more watch.
I think Rick should take it.
If anybody wants to take it. Maybe nobody does.
I mean, I ain't gonna. I guess I wouldn't complain on that. I don't sleep, so like it don't matter.
Or Ugor could.
It's up to you guys.
Hell's
I'm
not-
staying pit.
I'm hot shoeing right now.
We can say that Ugbor takes the last watch, if you want. Unless Rick wants to take it.
He's slamming us. No.
That's not a very good watch at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care to take it.
Okay. Then you're not able to move. Your friends have restrained you. But you can still see, so make a perception check.
26 bludgeoning damage. Dear God.
9 perception. The only thing that you notice as you wait and contemplate what just happened to you, you have essentially already taken your long rest, being a reborn. So it's not hard for you to stay awake and think. There's a lot to think about.
Would that
And-
heal me, technically?
Yes, that would heal you. That would be your long rest after this last rest that you've had. Now, as you have a lot to think about, the only thing that you hear in proximity to you is the playful growl of something to your, what would be your right, the right side of the map. And looking over, you have dark vision, right? Okay. You're able to see a brief outline of some playful little animal as it like chases a mouse across the ground or something. And you see this small little black feline looking creature with what seems to be two long whipping tails pounce and end the life of a mouse and start to crunch on it. And as it finishes its midnight snack, it stands back up, only 7 inches tall, and begins to wander back into the darkness of the forest. And you can just tell the outline of a beast similar in nature, but about 4 feet tall, walk away with its cub back into the forest. And then all is silent.
Rick
We're
gets a
gonna-
little bit of enjoyment out of that.
And unless there's anything Rick wants to think about or otherwise decide on.
Well, do I remember? So, transforming, is it like an out of body experience?
No, you're very much present for it. It is like,
Okay, so I know what's going on. I just can't control it, right?
as far as you could tell, yes, you couldn't control this. You had no influence over what happened to you just now.
So I'm gonna try to recall the events, like everything that happened,
Okay.
and then try to figure out. At the moment, for priority's sake, Rick doesn't care about the transformation in general. But the biggest thing that upset him, given how his brain works at the moment, is that he couldn't resist attacking technically the two friends he's had the longest here.
Mm-hmm.
So the two familiar with him. So he's trying to figure out how to better prevent that said situation from happening again.
Thinking back on your very recent experience, you remember just kind of zoning out and exploring your own mind while looking at the fire and starting to remember something about staring at fire from before. But before that specific instance could take, you felt the need to look up at the moon. And as you did, you felt the heat within you well up, and like a flood that you didn't have the strength to stop. The waters just came and filled you with energy. That energy transformed into physical manifestation of mass and muscle and bone and twistings and morphings in order to allocate that space. And that was the step-by-step of what happened, for whatever that means. You're not sure if you could resist the call of the moon when that happens, but it's a thought in your head at least. And as you think of all this, the sun rises, and we'll say the last watch, as Rick thinks, tarries a little long, just on the safe side, and letting you all wake up naturally versus waking you up because his watch has ended and your day has begun. You guys wake naturally, individually, to a new day in the forest, and Rick is staring at an extinguished fire, bound as you left him. And the day is new. What are you guys doing?
Which now it seems like, I mean, hell, shit could have hit the fan while Rick was on watch, and you'd never know. You couldn't have done anything about it.
It's very possible. If you were on watch at that time, then all of your friends would have been asleep.
That's right. I would have been fine. Dog would have woke me up.
So I'm gonna kind of get up and make my way towards Rick, and I'm gonna kneel down in front of him. And do I notice him breathing now after I've seen him breathe and pant before the transformation?
At this time, no. Rick is not stone still. He's looking around occasionally. His eyes flicker. He has he's made of organic material. He's not like sitting perfectly still, and his eyes are scanning the horizon and moving from place to place, looking at the fire, the trees, birds, maybe you guys as you wake up. So he's moving. He's awake and alive, blinking if for nothing else reflex, but he doesn't seem to be breathing.
So he doesn't seem to be breathing. I just kind of whisper to him, "What are you?" More to myself more than to him.
So, since Rick had a memory and has drew back a little bit, I'm gonna say he pulled a little bit of himself back.
Fair enough to say.
And so when Alfred does that, he's going to lunge at him and make sort of a hissing, growling sound. But it'll be followed up by like a single chuckle, and then he'll just kind of go back to his blank staring.
So you tried to juke scare Alfred and then laugh at your own joke and sit back down.
Yes.
Okay, Alfred.
I'm just trying to figure out, just kind of for RP reasons. It'd be what, wisdom save maybe.
It'd be more or less if Alfred's going to react thinking that Rick's about to attack him or go at him.
It would be more of just the sudden movement.
Yeah.
Would have been just kind of like just shocked him a bit more than actually scare him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to see if I made a reaction, and you can definitely see my eyes widen and my kind of get into more of a defensive posture, but it was quickly kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you
then I kind
flinched.
of looked back at, yeah, I flinched, but I didn't like fall back on my ass or anything like that. But I looked back to Pell and see if he saw that or if anyone saw that.
You're not in the bubble anymore. Pell did not recast Tiny Hut. Everybody's kind of waking up. I think anybody that thinks that they would have or wanted to see that probably would have seen it.
Yeah, so, but
I'm gonna walk up to Rick, and after seeing what he did to Alfred, he kind of chuckled inside, and he goes in behind Rick to whisper in his ear, and as he does, he's gonna take out his blade and slice the rope off of him.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say, at least some of us can scare the piss out. And then I walk away.
So I'm assuming like hands tied behind my back, very uncomfortable, right?
As you were probably.
As I guess Rick is untied and straightens himself back out, and you'll hear joints and ligaments and every good thing that sounds amazing pop, crack, and snap back into where it's supposed to be. Well, semi where it's supposed to be.
Oh, by the way, hope that didn't hurt too bad last night. I was trying to sleep. Hope you understand.
He'll lock eyes with Munson and give him a nod and kind of smile.
That's good. That's good enough for me.
well,
It sounds like it seems like the harm I've caused you. You actually look at your body, Rick. You look like between what you were becoming and between becoming yourself, you look like you actually healed a little bit. Maybe knocked some of your common sense back into you. Maybe your old senses are coming back. I don't know, but it seems like the damage I caused you actually healed you in a way.
with my eyes still on Rick, I was like, I just kind of say yes, but it still begs the question of whatever the hell happened to him.
Well, he
Last night.
He did something, obviously.
Well, yes, but not just from last night, but during his revival. It
Yeah,
could happen again.
He's not breathing. I understand that, but that's, in my opinion, the world we're in, lots of things aren't breathing.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't typically stay moving either.
Yeah, well, most of them get torn apart by a ginormous magical creature that has the ability to do whatever the fuck he wants to. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Speaking of which, where is Gurky? I have a word with him.
He's probably in his hut.
Almost on cue, the bubble drops.
Yeah, you do that.
And you see the goblin businessman straighten himself up. And packs one last thing away into his breast pocket, and one more thing away into a small bag on his side.
Ah,
Well,
perfect.
are we ready to go?
Is that a wild Ugboar? It is a wild
Oh,
Ugboar.
you picked it. You should have been here earlier.
Yeah, man.
I, I, I,
Oh, man.
I called
It
him
was.
just now and woke him up.
Ugboar, you missed
So,
an amazing fight.
to recap, Ugbor, just real quick for you, since you're here. You can't hear us, yes?
I'm still half asleep, but I'm listening.
Okay. You teleported to the north side of Red Ash. Flint decided to contact Gerke to get information upon where Mr. Jacob Foster was, because they didn't know. Gerke decided to come through the bag of holding, as he said he would, to escort you the final length of the way to Jacob Foster. So Gerke is with you again, showing you the way.
Oh,
You went into the northern Rowanwood Forest, following Gerke's direction to Jacob Foster, but you still have about 10 hours travel ahead of you or so after traveling last night, and you decided to camp in the Rowanwood Forest. Nothing major happened that came from the forest, but during the night, the Malar moon came out, a smaller version of the main moon over this world, blocking out the view of Saloon and turning the entire environment red, shedding a red light on the entire area, and forcing a werebeast transformation from Rick, who transformed into a elephant type creature that attacked all of you guys, having not the strength to withstand the call of the beast. Rick, and only Rick, during this time, was able to use his true sight to see things in the environment in the ethereal plane that permeated the existence and overlapped on these planes of existence, and saw one curious thing. With his true sight, he was able to see Gerke's true form, which was a true polymorphed dragon of some sort, curled up sleeping as Gerke was. The fight ensued, and having depleted his werebeast form's health, Munson was able to collapse Rick, and his form was dropped. He is hurt, but alive. And you guys finished off the night getting a long rest, and you are now waking up, and Gerke has just risen from his sleep and asking if everybody is ready for the travel that is ahead of you.
I gave him a nice smack.
You actually did give him a nice smacking.
Who are you
Feels kinda
smacking?
like-
Said I did a good smacking. I was telling him what.
Oh, okay.
So
I wish I,
I
could
kind of,
have been a part of the smacking, but I was part of the napping.
I mean, you technically were. You did hit him
you
for 13 damage
Did hit him for 13 slashing.
Mm-hmm.
Ha ha ha.
with the new sword too that we made. You.
I critted him with my strike, with my steel wind strike. Hit him
12
for
D.
79.
Was that not after I kind of slammed Ugboar?
Yeah, he did slam Ugbor.
Pale's gonna run over and like check Ugbor, see if there's like any visible wounds on him or anything.
I think I'm fine.
After
Done this last-
after a long rest, he's pretty well taken care of. You see some remnants of battle, but nothing, no bruises that were not there before.
I'm gonna walk up to Gerke and ask him if he had any update during our time separated. About the any survivors from Sunder or anything of Sunder.
The only updates I've heard, and it's not been much, people are still tending their wounds and taking census, but the things that I have heard are that several ships have went down, several others have made port in other cities with scantily little amounts of people, and others are yet to be heard from. there have been no transients on foot as far as we are aware from North Sunder or anything that mattered, and South Sunder is still dark. Any ship that goes near there is said to not return, and people are generally at this time staying away.
So we would probably easily estimate the casualties to be around 95% of the population of South Sunder.
I wouldn't argue the point.
Oh my god. That's just a lot.
Considering that Sunder had a population of what, maybe a quarter of a
Ooh,
million?
that's a good question, Alfred. How big was South Sunder? Like what was their population? Did we ever discuss that?
No, but I would think for something that size, with how many businesses, how many houses, even its own dedicated coliseum, I would say it probably easily about a quarter of a million.
Wasn't it like 2000s? Didn't say it on the map of Sunder.
Sorry, I was replying to a message. What was said?
We were actually wondering about the population of Sunder before it was destroyed.
South Sunder.
Yeah.
Munson and Alfred would basically know this for living there in some regards. Rick, not so much for his current mental state. But at least you two would know that, generally speaking, coming and going, there is a little more than 2,000 individuals that call Sunder
Jesus,
home.
I was way off.
Interesting.
Way off.
Why are you a cat?
I was wondering that too.
My name is Puss in Boots.
Okay,
Make
go
it
back
go
to
away, Pedal. Make it go away.
God, he turned into a werecat.
Yeah, I thought like quarter of a million in South Sunder, not
No.
2,000. Like, goddamn. So
No.
not really that many people died, so to speak.
The entire population of Falonkort at last census that you're aware of is maybe less than 20,000.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yes.
What
This
are we
Small
in a PC era?
world.
This is a small continent on Nikathis.
Jesus Christ, damn. Okay.
Now,
Okay, you're putting my reality in check here, mate.
Valancourt is a relatively small continent. If you were to venture eastward to the massive continent of Rhinemore that spans roughly a quarter of the globe, that is more along the lines of 250,000 people.
So would you say that this whole continent, like the size of the U.S., maybe? Not even that?
Not even, no. This is, let's see, how can I perspective?
I just did the miles thing on the computer, and it's like maybe 500 miles from like tip to tip.
Jesus Christ, if that's the case, it's like the size of Missouri.
Yeah, this is the size of one of the U.S. states.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 250,000.
And roughly 2/3 of it is uninhabited by density.
Yeah, there's not really like a whole lot in the scattered wilds and stuff, is there?
Not that you're aware of.
I legitimately thought this place was much bigger. Jesus.
Besides fucking Steve up there.
I forgot about that village. I want to go to that village. I just want to. I want to go to the village of Steve.
I mean, you never know.
If we ever go there, I sincerely hope that everyone is just named Steve.
It's just the Gary vault from Fallout.
Exactly.
Gary.
Gary.
Steve.
Well, safe to say, in the North Rowanwood Forest, there is not much going on. It is a very safe place to be to an extent while you're within the bounds of the district. Especially seeing as how, as far as you know, Crane Rune is the home of the seat of defense, being the Bane Breezes, and that resides even further up in the northern part of the forest. So from that city, the smaller town of Crane Rune, down to the edge of this of Rowanwood proper, is a relatively safe area district protected by the elves. Anything beyond that is, who's to say? But being within the bounds of this district still, it's a pleasant and relatively peaceful walk. Gurhi is leading the way to where you need to be. So unless anybody has anything they wish to accomplish as they walk and following Gurhi, or any conversations you wish to have, you will safely make it to Jacob Foster's residence in Pleasant Time.
Pell's gonna be trying to teach Bork words so he can try to communicate instead of just glancing at us.
And lunging at us, cackling.
Okay. How do you do this?
He's just gonna be like, "Me Pell, you for it." And he'll be like,
Now you try.
"You do it."
Rick looks at Pale and says, "Me Pale, now you try."
This is improvement. He'll just keep like pointing at him. You Rick. Rick.
And once again,
I use Flash of Genius on Rick.
Okay. Okay.
This could either turn very bad or very good. One of the two is going to happen.
So, Rick, roll a d20, add Flint's modifier, and take from that what you will.
That's guidance on.
Lance modifier.
A 4.
The D20 plus 4 and with guidance.
Yeah, so a D4.
There you go. You got a 2 and a 4 plus your d20 roll. So 11 plus 6 is 17. So do whatever you will with the 17 as you try to learn a language from Pell.
So gain a language.
Well, relearn a language.
Relearn.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as difficult as learning a new language as to relearn your existing language.
If he would
Okay.
have got nat 20, I'd been like, he relearned all the languages.
I relearned everything.
You're living your dream as a goddamn Kenku.
So, oh my god.
Be a polyglot.
So with that, does that spark anything?
I'd say with that, I would think it comfortable for you to relearn most of your language, not in a fluent detail. You wouldn't be able to have long conversations or any extremely long syllabled words, but
Essentially, Rick has
Take
become
together strong.
like a lizard folk. Just
yes,
blind.
that's the level you're at. Yes, with this amount of time that has happened since your rebirth, and the practice that you've had, and the recent memory flood that you just had on the edge of Red Ash, this would be appropriate.
Okay. Would this spark a flash of genius cause any other memory floods or?
Not at
Any,
this time. No.
Okay. All right. All right. So I can speak again. Just
Great. Now we won't be able to get him to shut up.
all right.
Take together strong.
The best part about it is just going to be it's just Rick can be Rick again, can be Bork again, just more of a dick because he can't mask it anymore.
There's no filter.
Yeah, there's no filter.
Okay. So with Pell teaching Rick language, Gurki is puttering along, keeping to himself. He is not smoking or fiddling or doing anything like that, but he has a very intent face on as he is leading the group and thinking.
How do you know this guy, Gertz? Can I call you that? Are we like homies and
It doesn't bother me. He is simply a business partner that fulfills certain contracts and oddities, such as the request from Mr. Flint. This one is one of the more unstable ones that I work with. I do not envy when I have to work with him. My experience with him, and I'm glad you mentioned it, it would be good for you to know. My time with him, what I have learned, he is a very dangerous individual. He was once with the Empire and is not any longer. He was exiled for reasons I have not discovered yet. From what I have learned and understand, and this may be wrong, but I believe he was a relatively high-ranking member of the Kirin Order, if you are familiar. And he is no longer of that status. What he is doing here, I do not know. What his research interests are, I do not know. I know that he makes powerful magical items for money, and he keeps to himself, and that's the way most people have come to like. So, us traveling here is not a happy errand, but if we keep our wits, it should be a relatively safe errand.
His name was on that paper that we found the other day.
What
So
paper?
he might, the one we got off the spy. I think we showed the people at fucking why am I forgetting? Ronewood, yeah. He'd be like, I think Ugbor has it.
Ugbor, you would remember that you actually gave that missive to the Bane Breezes during the conference that happened before you were arrested.
Oh well, I got a really good memory and I can remember it.
Also, I think Ugbor's asleep again.
Or is dead.
Yep. But
Well, I mean, he is a cat. He does like his cat naps.
So Ugbor recalls hearing about the Kirin Order.
oh yes, Ugbor is very familiar with the Kirin Order. The Kirin Order.
I kind of figured. Are these? When Ugbor was a boy, he was traveling in the woods and found some interesting artifacts. Was that the Kirin Order?
You found in your travels, when you first started your adventure across Falonkort, you you found robes and items that had markings of the Empire and the symbol of the Kirin Order on it, that were gold and purple in color, and these items belonged to a member of the Kirin Order, or perhaps a former member of the Kirin Order, because when you presented these items to your friends, your traveling companion Laszlo accused you of stealing his father's goods. Upon a brief conversation, he recovered those from you and decided to go to whatever safe location his father was in when Henniker helped him transport there safely. But other than that, you know the Kirin Order very well in the fact that they are the high power within the Empire. The Empire certainly has many soldiers and guilds and things of physical force, but the Kirin Order is their bloodline, their underlying source of power. That is their magical study, their development, their mastery, their jails, their powerful centers of shielding and other things that you are not very familiar with being an orc. Those all revolve around the hierarchy structure of the Kirin Order, which operates kind of similar to the Diversium, or at least it presents itself in that way, where it's a center of learning, but it doesn't accept everybody. Matter of fact, it accepts very few individuals that don't show promise in the arcane, and those that do are whisked away for training and are not seen very often after that unless they ascend ranks, in which they're only seen within their high political circles. These individuals are tasked largely, as far as the populace knows, with keeping the empire safeguarded, knowledgeable on magics, keeping a fount supply of magical items like healing potions flooded through the empire for the caretaking of its citizens, and the pursuant research of the lost any lost artifacts or powers in the north that might reside there from past civilizations. That is what you know of the Kirin Order. And I put him to sleep.
No, I'm just that's interesting. It's a fair bit more information than I had on them previously.
But all that said, from what Gerke said, this individual you are going to was exiled from that organization and has left the empire entirely for some reason.
Supposedly.
Yeah, because his name was on that paper that we got from that spy guy, right?
Well, he left the empire physically, as far as you know. He is here. The missive, if you remember, says, as far as Mr. Foster is concerned, Mr. Foster will remain in his secluded yet useful position, is what his part of that was.
I do recall that.
If that's the case, if he was indeed on that parchment, then maybe we'll be seeing some familiar faces sometime soon. And if not, then he turns to Alfred and then to Ugbor. This would be an excellent time to redeem yourselves for our last encounter with a high political official. If something goes awry, there's not the world of power that I can do. And he continues walking. Eventually, you guys make your way to the home of Jacob Foster. And Jacob Foster lives in a cottage on the edge of the forest, just on the foothills of the mountains. And as you approach, you see the cottage first, but you also... Huh?
Quick question.
Go
Can we
ahead.
take like a quick 10-minute, I know it's dangerous,
Mhm.
because people are liable to fall asleep. But I've really got to piss, check on this kitten, make sure it's not dead.
Absolutely, no problem. We'll take 10 real quick. Then we will begin again.
Yep.
So approaching the home of Jacob Foster, you see in the distance a house with an attached tower. It's made of stone and wood and has decorative supports. The two-story house sits in a field with a picturesque view of the Glitterfire Mountains in the background, with a beautiful rowanwood forest tree line in the front yard. You see familiar forms as the front door of the structure opens, and Wassarian Torin auburn hair beside midnight fur, exiting the abode while making a final remark to someone inside. As they leave, the door stays open, and they pause in surprise seeing your group. Seeing Gurki, their at least Lusari's face softens, Torrens to an extent, but it's difficult to tell based on his wolfish nature. Gurki walks to the front of the group. Not to worry, official business. And as they walk towards your group, Lusari says, I see. Hello again, old friend. And Torrin also nods his head, obviously. As your two groups approach each other, Lusari says in a hushed tone, he seems to be a severed hand of the Empire, but there's something off about him. Torrin and I could not find anything officially suspicious, but he is absolutely hiding something. He was too compliant. He practically suggested we use Zone of Truth and was syrupy sweet at our questioning. Chose his words very carefully and without overly deflecting any of our questions, but still seeming arrogant somehow. We don't trust him. Having nothing of substance to justify further questioning, yet he's very intelligent and he knows it. He needs to be watched carefully. And Torrin sends a message to your entire group. Some of you feeling this for the first time, a message in your mind projected by this carnal creature, but of a higher intelligence than that. But there's some disjointness there. But you get the overarching message of a wolf stalking prey. Your information is welcome, but unsurprising. I've had short dealings with him in the past, and I myself was put off. Pell, with your passive perception, you notice a gentleman now standing in the doorway of the house. Human, pale, a little short, well dressed in a maroon vest, gray dress shirt, and polished black boots. A copper chain that connects his lapel to something in his breast pocket. He has platinum blonde hair that's feathered up, and the sides of his head are trimmed very tightly. He has a very thin white mustache to match his platinum hair. He stands nonchalantly swirling a glass of red wine as he leans up against the door frame and watches your conversation from a distance. The best akinness I can relate is that he looks very similar to Johnny Depp's rendition of Grindelwald. I'll have Pell and Munson make a perception check for me in this instance.
Is Torrin and Lusari moving away from the group at this point?
No, they're still standing, and Gurki and Lusari are talking.
13.
13?
Quick question, real
Yeah.
quick.
Yes,
True sight. I only have it when I'm transformed.
correct.
26.
26. Pale, you recognize that even though Mr. Foster, you assume, is about 100 feet away from you still at this time, at his home, and you're about 100 feet away, you notice that he is swirling the red wine in the glass he's holding, and he's mouthing something, and you squint your eyes and focus harder. And as you're listening to your friend's conversation, Gurki and Lusari's, you see him mouthing the words they're speaking.
I can see his mouth. I can know what he's saying.
Yeah, you see his
Well, I
mouth.
can
You see his mouth moving in time with their conversation.
Hey, he's watching us, and he's saying exactly what you guys are saying. Hello, XO.
So you're saying this to your group?
Yeah.
Okay. Lusari and Gurki stop and turn to you, and then look at Foster, who still leaning up against the doorframe with his one foot crossed over the other in a relaxed fashion. Smiles a little bit, swirls his glass, takes a sip of wine, and waits. This time, Lusari turns her back. to Mr. Foster, and Torin turns to face him. I only ask that you be careful, old friend. And Gurky, standing directly in front of her, as to block himself from Foster's view. Oh, we will be, don't worry. I'm sure if something happens, you'll be the first to hear. She nods, and Gurky proceeds on in a fashion that makes you think that he wants you to follow.
He'll look down at Flint. Let's go get this damn battery.
Indeed.
As you turn to leave, you hear Lucere shoot one more quick conversation point at Gurky, no longer hiding her words. We need to report back, but we will be close should you need us. Intending all company to hear. Torin then sends a message to Rick, telepathically, of a clearing not too far back in the forest, like a shifting image of a path winding back to this small clearing just inside the forest. And as well as that, you get the flash back, Rick, in your mind to a close-up version of Foster's face with the aura of careful. Then they depart and head their separate ways, and you guys follow Gurky towards the cabin. As you approach, who would I pretend to be if I were to turn away good company? Sir Gliad and friends, please come in.
Before you do that, I'm gonna type this something real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
We can do this after a little bit here.
Ugbor, you're still a cat on my screen.
I'm
Yeah,
not
me
a
too.
cat on my screen.
And my screen's the one that matters, and you're a cat.
He's not a cat in my screen. He's an Ugbor.
Yep, there you go.
I'll recycle my thing as well. Well, if I worry it's going to break, but it'll be fine.
You'll never know. He's a cat or an orc.
Good work, Cat.
Yeah, it worked. I refreshed and it worked.
Great. Gotta kill this one too.
Ugbor wasn't even here for Munson's joke. I think it was Munson.
Maybe. What joke was it?
Missed out. The wire fucked.
Oh yeah,
He wasn't here for that.
yeah.
No
That was,
way.
that was right at the beginning of his transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I turned it to
Hold
wire.
an amazing skill. My intelligence kicked in right at the right time. It's okay. I pulled an anime shit and ended all that bullshit so I can go back to bed.
Matt, was that the one, like, I can't remember his name now, but yeah. Was that move? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, Ugbor, what you would have saw is when you were fighting, you would have saw me with a very angry face slash really hard into him as he hits the ground, say some words, and yell at all of you to leave me alone so I can go back to bed. And I laid back down and fine.
Yeah. I watched Classicer take out many people that way.
Yeah.
I try not to cause violence, but my dog says not to be attacked. I was protecting my dog.
That campaign we were power leveled like crazy.
Oh, where?
Yeah. That's the heat. We leveled up like every freaking session.
Yeah, I had a buddy who did one where every other session you leveled, so it was just like quickly going through.
Which
But yeah, it was crazy.
it seems like it was very quick, but I mean, to be honest, there for a little bit, Matt, we played like a game a day, and we would like, I don't know, it was quick, but it wasn't like level by level. We would skip levels.
Oh,
Yeah, we did.
It would
Yeah,
be
we
like,
did
hey,
it.
you're level 10 now.
Yeah, we did in person, and we did in person with like every 2 to 3 sessions we would level, but it was anywhere from a 5 to 8 hour session.
We played online, but like I mean, it kind of beat him in the ass because I mean, what color dragon was that? He threw at us, Matt,
Green dragon.
and we like it was running away from us, and we killed it. It was bad.
Yeah,
I was a
love
wizard with like fucking 120 health.
Dang.
Well, I have Alfred's thing addressed. Is there anything else you guys are doing other than following Gurky into the cabin? With the I guess I would call that a cabin.
I guess it's a cat.
Let me see.
Flint has the horrible suspicion that this is bigger than a battery.
On the way up there, can I cast like 2 spells?
You can certainly try.
Alright, I'm gonna cast a 3rd level aid on Bugboard, Vorik, and Flint.
Okay.
So you guys get 10 hit points added onto your hit point. And
I'll take it.
I'm gonna cast Death Ward on myself.
Question. I remember all this stuff, and I'm learning this. Am I Vorik or Rick?
That's up to you.
It's whatever you want it to be, man.
I think I was saying you Vorik.
Oh,
You-
I guess I am Vorik. Then.
Well, then you said
Okay.
Rick, so then it's like you're just confusing the poor man.
As we go in, because as we go in to have a conversation, um, Rick or Vorik doesn't really understand necessarily all languages, or the languages, correct? He can hear the words, he can say words, but he doesn't really understand them fully. Is that kind of what I'm understanding?
He has, we'll say, to put
I
it.
said like lizard folk, right? I think it's what we
Well,
agreed
yeah,
on.
but what I'm saying is it's not necessarily what you can say, it's more of an understanding. If you can understand what others are saying, or if you just kind of,
Like
yeah,
you
I can
Yeah.
repeat what you say, but do you comprehend what they're saying?
Yeah, it's the equivalent of someone who can understand spoken Spanish but isn't fluent themselves. In that, it's something in that regard. So we'll say that he has like 80% comprehension of language, but only like 30% fluency.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is when we start going into the hut, I'm gonna touch the back of Vorik. I'm gonna give him that.
Okay.
So when we go in, not only will the words be spoken, but he'll understand everything as it goes through, as long as we stick to one language.
Gotcha.
So would this theoretically help Vorik learn?
I think it would. Of course, it would take some
And it's for
exposure.
1 hour, so
At this point, you guys see me walking back up to you guys.
Okay, so Pell cast Aid and Death Ward. Munson cast Tongues. Alfred has recouped himself with the group, and you're about to enter the cabin. Is there any last minute actions otherwise to be taken care of? Okay. As you enter the cabin, Gurky first. Inside the house are all manner of trinkets, books, instruments, spinning contraptions. The space is square but roomy. A simple seating arrangement surrounds a small table on the left side of the room. On the other side of the cream-colored space is dedicated mainly to bookshelves and cabinetry, a workspace, countertops, and curious displays. The main feature being a floating rock in the middle of the air, magically suspended. On this rock, there is a metal stand. In the stand is a large egg about 1 foot tall that has a rainbow type sheen to it, as if it was covered in oil, and there's a candle burning underneath of the giant egg. Also in the room are potion vials on racks like little spices. Cutting, pruning, and what seem to be almost surgical equipment is on top of one set of cabinetry. There's a glowing red crystal in a metal caged cup display next to a window on that same workspace. There is a cage. There's a cage in the corner, suspended by a rod, um, like a coat rack that suspends this metal cage. Inside the cage, there is a sleeping fairy dragon. And all this aura in the space, and Jacob Foster walks over to the seating arrangement and beckons to the other seats. Please, come have a seat. Make yourselves comfortable. To what do I owe the pleasure, Gurky? Well, if it has escaped your memory, I gave you money for an order that was not delivered upon. Yes, I remember. I also remember telling you that I would deliver as soon as I was able. I am willing to maintain our bargain. I see you have men. Would you be able to lend them out to see those ends? They are not slaves. That is entirely up to them. Also, Flint here, and he gestures towards Flint, is the purchaser of the item, so he is the one you owe the money or item to. So I suppose he would be the one you would be primarily dealing with. I am here purely as a conduit, a familiar face. Well, and Mr. Foster stands up and walks over to Flint and bows respectfully, extending a hand. Glad to meet a fellow future inventor. My name is Jacob Foster. Care to help me retrieve your battery?
Sure, what's the catch?
This item that you requested requires charge, activation of its internal components. It's stuck in that stage and needs retrieval. How familiar are you with such an item as you have requested?
In a theoretical sense, fairly well versed.
Then you would know that it requires heat activation in this case. I have a spot within the mountains that I have discovered. One of the roosting places of the phoenix that you may have heard about in the area. I have been able to harness the power of this fire and bake a few arcane crystals in it, providing them with the recuperative properties of the phoenix fire. That is what you have ordered from me. It is stuck there, as the creatures have not moved on from their spot. They have several spots, but this one they have taken to particularly. If you were able to help me vacate them, one way or another, we could retrieve your item. It occurs to me, Mr. Foster, that you have some such item there. And he points across the room to the crystal in the jar. Or this metal caged cup display. That is mine for personal use. I have it dedicated for other projects. This is the item that you ordered. And this is the item that you will receive. He stands up and straightens himself, and his face is thinking. He looks around the room at all of you, to Gurky. Did you know you're famous? All of you. He walks over to a bookshelf on the other side of the room. And from this bookshelf, he retrieves a square pane of glass that is cut at 45s on the corners and has this raw look to the edge of it, like it's smooth, worn on the edges. He takes his pane of glass and walks across the room with it and taps on it, murmuring something as he walks back over. He turns the glass to face you, and suddenly it isn't transparent. It has text on one side. Pictures. A picture of you, Flint. your name and other information. This is an access glass to the Kieran's Arcanus Vendorum. He turns the glass back to himself. The remote archives of information. Memento from before the fools thought themselves above me. They have much knowledge, many opinions. For example, and he's holding the glass between his fingers and up to his elbow, holding it horizontally, and he's holding it there, tapping on it with his hand and making gestures around. They are particularly frustrated by the elf defender and her dog. They tricked a group of dwarven explorers to venture north on Cliffcraig's behalf. The group was eradicated by a hydra that just so happened to be in the area. The Banebreeze girl and her pet arrived on scene and dispatched the beast without much effort. Such a waste. Now they have to find other traps, the Empire. That pair are the highest level threat of 10, and he points to a spot on the glass that you can't see because it's transparent on your side. I was luckily able to find out before the Hydra went totally to rot and was able to get there to recover some frozen blood to study its regenerative properties. Have a library of specimens to study, and that one would not be amiss among them. He keeps strolling around the room, looking to each of you and then back to his little glass piece. That pair would be a curious study, connection between them. He starts to get quiet and trail off. Markings are new, I think. I don't believe they are decorative. Anyway, the Order has a dossier on everyone in this room. He turns the glass around as he keeps strolling very slowly around his own room. Munson, Vidalkin, child of what is this, Slyer and Kindle? The most brilliant mind in Sunder. Works closely with the Ark, threat level 7. He flips the tablet and it flips over to a picture of a Dragonborn. Alfred, Dragonborn, former champion of the arena. No connections. Threat level 3. Flips it again to a picture of an orc. Flips it again to Vork's face. Then again, then again. Then turns it back to himself. All of you are bundled in a file with several interesting documents, all cryptic. File is titled Mother. Does that mean anything to you?
Feeling I never had a mother now.
He looks around the room and waits for a moment. Of course there's others. So much more. Cogs and kings. Inscriptions for the teleportation circles within their very walls. Military plans. The history of the Banebreeze family and other high elven families. Arcane theories of the Raji-centric circles in Rhinemore. Weapon designs, holiday plans, beast feeding schedules, tax records. It's all here. Let's say you help me with this small errand. Now let you in on all the dirty, secretive, schoolyardy side chatter that's been said about you, and you can have your item. And I simply am able to keep my hands clean and keep my feet up for the day. How does that sound for a deal?
What makes you think I care about whatever's said about me?
He doesn't respond for a moment. It's entirely up to you. If you're willing to wait, I will fetch the item at my earliest convenience, but I am not eager to walk into fire when I don't have to.
You have the exact location, the exact coordinates in which I need to be to get there.
Now I can show you exactly where it is.
Okay. And this will just be the Phoenix?
As far as I'm aware, that is the only threats. Now, these mountains are home to many creatures that hide in crevices, call home. It's hard to say what's all in there and all will be present, but The bird is the main.
Well, I've shot upon the creature multiple times, not necessarily because I was trying to kill it, more or less scare it off. But, you don't have anything for us. It sounds like we have to get it ourselves. Of course, it is a high risk.
High
Flint,
risk.
how important is this battery to you?
He turns the tablet around. And high reward.
Well, of course. Girk, how important is it to you that we get such an item?
It matters not to me. It is Flint's item after all. However, given the current events of the world, I don't imagine it would be unuseful to have whatever the Empire has to say about anyone in our minds.
Whatever
But
we
I
find
am
out,
not.
we keep for ourselves, Girk, or do we share with you?
This is purely your deal. I am fulfilling Flint's contract with this piece. This is not on my wish list and is not part of our contracts, individually
So
speaking.
how can we complete such a thing with this guy unless we basically do it ourselves?
I believe that's what he was suggesting, Mr. Foster, and Foster nods, would be showing you where to go, and you would be doing the work. In reward, you would get his information and Flint's item. Alternatively, you can go about your way and wait until the bird migrates or something. I don't know how phoenixes work, but that is what I'm hearing of the deal, and this is purely between Mr. Foster and yourselves, as I am not part of the rescue party, nor am I in the middle of this transaction any longer. I have served my piece.
Does he have any details, any kind of history, any kind of book in here that would help us understand strength, weaknesses of a phoenix, or understand its abilities?
Are you saying this out loud, or are you asking me?
Yes, that's how.
You see Mr. Foster casually and slowly walk between you and the bookshelves you're looking at. I will tell you everything you need to know. Nary a worry.
Can I roll nature?
You can certainly roll nature. What are you trying to find?
What Munson was looking for? Strengths and weaknesses of phoenixes and such.
With nature on the phoenix, you, based on what you saw before in your previous battle, you can only assume of the animal that fire would do very little good to you, and it has a very it moves very quickly through the air, so you assume it's has a very high speed. And besides that, based on things you may have read or picked up before out of curiosity, you sense that this creature is not inherently a bad creature. This phoenixes are typically regarded, at least in lore, to be pretty good natured creatures. They have powers over fire and have physical talons and beaks that can do massive damage, especially to creatures and beings of low defense. And you know by nature that phoenixes rejuvenate. They reincarnate themselves. They heal with fire. But that's what you know.
So it hardly makes sense trying to kill them.
I mean, you don't know how fast they rejuvenate, when they reincarnate, how that process takes place, necessarily.
Basically, I guess the way I would look at it is if you could kill or punish such creature, there's a chance won't necessarily kill it. You'll just give it a timeline to rebirth or reincarnate, I guess. If that makes sense.
And on top of that, I would be completely useless in the fight.
I'll go give it a hug. It's okay, anyways. Yeah, I'll just wait and see what he says as he was headed to the bookshelf.
Do we have a deal then, or would you rather wait?
Well, Flint what do you think?
I'm down to clown. Go get this sucker.
I
Now,
appreciate any help.
is this the Phoenix Battery you and that one weird frog guy was talking about up in Rowanwood?
Yes, the weird frog guy and I.
Yes. Give me all details you can. Give me exact coordinations. Prefer to the entrance, not necessarily the center of the lair, and we can make haste quite hastily if need be.
Make with the hastifications.
Very well. Well, and he takes a piece of paper and draws the area nearby, and with quick markings, he's able to sketch out pretty accurately his cabin, the mountains nearby, the path you have to take to get into the valley that leads up, winding up the mountains to the Phoenix Cave. And he details out where this is, how long it would take to get there, which is just a couple hours, and where inside the cave it is, which is about 300 feet back or so in the back of the cave. In the back of the cave, there's a path that winds up beside a lava access, and the path that winds up past that ends in a nest, a large, probably 7 foot wide bird's nest that is made of cinders and burnt items and smoldering embers. And tucked in that nest is the crystal set to bake. Above this nest, there is an opening in the crags of this cave where the birds fly in and out of.
Well, this looks perfect. Yeah. What time of day would we say we're at right now?
This is before noon. It's still morning.
Well, let's see. I look over at Palinel. I realize he's gonna be loud as fuck. I look at Ugor, same thing. Rick, I'm not sure he knows what he's doing yet.
Oh. Sorry, I'm mistaken. I forgot you had to travel a lot this morning to get there, so it's afternoon. It will say it's roughly afternoon.
I thought it took us quite a while, but
Yep,
you
yep, yep.
and the DM, I just work here.
Yep, I'm just done.
And Alfred's almost naked over there, so he's probably decently quiet finally.
Are you assessing this out loud?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
I quickly asked after that naked comment. I asked Foster, with him living so close to the cliffs, would he happen to have some glitter fire on hand that I could purchase off him?
Would I happen to have some glitter fire? You mean the entire mountain range?
Not the glitter fire. I get the two. I meant the blight, the piece of flower that grows.
Oh, that, yes, I've seen sprouts around. I don't have any in my current possession, but I have seen it around. Not in disassociation with the place you're going, actually.
Okay, yes, I definitely do need those. And in the future, if you ever so desire to help the city of Cliffcrag, I'm sure you can make quite a bit of profit gathering up those flowers and selling it to a miner's fair. Hint, hint.
That's illegal. Had to say.
Is tongues and everything still active? So technically, Warwick would understand, kind of be able to process everything that's going on, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a full hour.
So your response to where you were assessing everybody out, where are we at inside this place? Like, are we inside this old cabin here?
Yeah, you're
Yeah, we're
inside the
outside.
cabin to the left side.
Any dark corners or anything in here?
No, the space is pretty open. The right side of his home is a workshop. You see stairs in the back middle that lead upstairs. And I'll tell you what, make a perception check. 22. With a 22, you would notice as Mr. Foster is walking around his room, talking and waiting both, you would see and hear, more than anything, you would hear, as he walks by you, that there's small pieces of dirt or sand or gravel or some dust on the floor. As he walks, it slips between the cracks in the floorboards, and you hear it down somewhere. So you sense that there is a downstairs as well, even though you are on ground level outside.
Alright. Responding to Munson's assessment of everybody and who to take and be stealthy, Warwick wants to attempt to hide where he can in here. Since he can understand what's going on at the moment better than he's been able to in the past little bit.
Didn't you also say that there's some sort of weird dragon in a cage in the corner?
I did. There is a sleeping fairy dragon, a small dragon-like creature that is we'll say maybe 2 feet long, and it's curled up and snoozing in the bottom of its cage which is very lightly and thinly upholstered.
I'm gonna walk over to it and kind of just study it and just look at it, watch it sleep.
Okay.
And see, and I kind of want to know if it's captured against its will, or if it's kept as a pet.
Okay. I'm going to have you roll a either nature or perception check, but the nature check would be with disadvantage.
I mean, can I roll animal handling? Because it would kind of see if there's.
Well, you're not handling the animal. You're trying to research the nature of the creature to see if you can tell what a domesticized version of this creature would be or look like, or you would be perceiving to see the area this creature lives in and what it looks like to be what its status is as far as being domesticated. So with a 7 perception, you basically can't tell. You don't see much around here, but I mean, surely he has things put away for the animal. The animal is just sleeping comfortably, it looks to be, in the bottom of this cage. It's up in the air, not on the ground or anything. The bottom of the cage is padded a little bit, not a lot, but at least a little bit. So it should be comfortable. So you're not sure how long this animal has been here.
Hey, Foster, where did you get this dragon from?
I have had that dragon for some time. Pardon me, I got a drink for it real quick. Gosh. I've had that dragon for quite some time. I've always seemed to keep an animal of some sort. Came with me from the Empire, actually.
So then it is your pet then?
It is. Do you have curiosity? Or purchase curiosity?
Well, I'm not sure on purchase, but depending on how much, I might be tempted to.
He stares at you for a moment. 300.
Kind of lean over to Pell and hey, can I borrow 170 gold pieces from you? I know I owe you a diamond.
Oh.
Uggable, you care to go with to the Phoenix, yes?
Yeah, I'll go.
I have
I'll
something.
fight a big firebird.
I have something for you for this fight. If we decide to actually have to fight something, and I'll hand you a cloth, and inside the cloth you'll fill a bottle. In that bottle, I will inform you that the bottle in which I'm giving you will grant you the strength of the giants. Drink within a reasonable time, preferably before battle of large creature, which would increase your strength to 23 for 1 hour.
Wow. Okay.
Uh,
Do not drink during stupid fights. We want it for the Phoenix. I need the most power I can get out of you, and this would be the time I was holding it. But if we are going to fight such a great creature, potentially, I'd rather you have it and be prepared.
I'm curious. Can I actually cast mirror image on other people?
Of yourself appear in space, so no.
So I can't like just touch like Ugbor and give him mirror image.
No, as a self.
Damn, 'cause that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Duly noted. I will drink this before the fight.
23
Well,
strength should increase your chances of hit plus damage outburst. Haha.
um, well, I tell Foster, well, unfortunately, I do not have the coin for that
What were you
purchase.
trying to buy?
I was trying to buy the dragon.
Oh, leave the dragon alone. It looks like it'd be happier here than suffering with our blabble mouths.
Aren't you a
Maybe.
dragon yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm a dragon
Wow.
born, but I would like to picture that I have a bit like a stronger connection with dragons.
You know, like a furless cat? He's like a furless dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, hold up. But yeah, like I have like a deeper sense of connection. I feel like with dragons.
As you're
Don't
discussing,
don't you speak dragon?
Yeah, I do speak draconic.
Dragonese.
Don't you
Dragon.
go talk
The
to the
dragon's
dragon?
sleeping right now, yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh,
dragons.
as you are discussing this, um, your turn to face the rest of your group, I assume. Foster is walking over towards the dragon in the cage, and he waves a hand over the cage. And Munson, you would recognize the gesture he uses. I'm checking. That is a gesture, right?
Depends on what it is.
Checking. Do. Yes. You recognize both the generalized verbal component and definitely the somatic component of dispel magic, as he dispels magic when the creature then opens its eyes, blinks, sits up, turns around, and mutters something. And then in that instant, before the creature begins to move in any kind of high energy fashion, Foster casts another spell, and the creature slumps and falls back asleep. Alfred,
Wait,
you speak Draconic, and you were right there. You would have heard the fairy dragon speak the words, "I need you to get out of here. Please let me out of this cage." And then he was cut off and back to sleep. Still grumpy. He'll cool off with time. And you see Foster lean down, pick up a cloth, some sort of covering that was on the ground in the corner behind this cage stand. Pick it up and droop it over the cage, covering it entirely in a purple velvet covering that blocks off all light. Now then,
So,
and he claps his
said
hands.
you would show me the book of the Phoenix
No,
before I leave?
I told you I would tell you everything you needed to know. Now,
Must have the book, Felix.
not a dedicated book. I have studies that I have done, and I am not willing to turn over my personal studies. But I will tell you, over after the location precisely, I'll tell you that these creatures are very intelligent. They are very vicious when they choose to be, and they are very powerful. If you are unable to scare it away and it instead chooses to combat with you, then you are best to not use anything regarding fire or poison. The creature absorbs fire and it heals all poisons almost immediately with its regenerative fires. So those uh, damages will not do you any good. It
Understood.
it understands languages, but persuading it can be very difficult, and I have not seen it done. And it also cannot speak in reply, so I wouldn't go looking for a conversation.
Okay. Interesting.
Is there anything else you wish to know before I have you leave my cabin?
While he was talking and shit, like how focused is he on Munson?
He's speaking directly to Munson. He has an air about the entire room. He's still twirling his wine glass now, aerating the wine within now that he's put down the glass tablet, which is on the table in the middle of the seating area.
Can I just kind of walk around the room like I'm just looking at stuff? But realistically, I want to be testing the floor.
Sure.
If there's a room beneath, find boards that may come up or hidden
Make a stealth check.
door under
Make a stealth check and an investigation check. You're able to walk around the room. Let me make some rolls of my own real quick. Okay. You're able to walk around the room and not appear suspicious. You are actually able to recoup some of your previous uh, charisma and able to carry yourself like a normal human, copying movements you assume would be commonplace in conversation and polite company. And you investigate the area. And although you're able to keep yourself stealthy while doing so, you prioritize your health and your non your non aggravation of this person that you are in his space. If not in regard for Gurki's instruction, then in regard for your own safety, as you have been warned about this man's his potential to be dangerous. Um, but in prioritizing your safety and your inconspicuousness, you don't find much in this room. You don't find any weak boards. You are able to move some sand or dirt around the floor to recreate the effect in some places. So you sense that at least the below ground space is relatively large and covers some square footage, but nothing beyond that. Do you require any other information to succeed on this mission?
Nope, that is all I require. Anyone else has opinion of their own? I'll meet you outside, and I will turn and head out. Um, as I go outside and kind of go to kind of where this area where it's kind of angled. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kind of lean against it a little bit, and then I'm gonna fade into the eyes of my owl and get like a full inspection around the property, and just kind of see what is and isn't around based off like the uh, picture he drew. I'm gonna kind of use the eyes of the owl to scope around out to about 100 feet around the whole property.
Okay, no roll needed. With your owl's perception and your memory of the map that he drew for you of the area, it's surprisingly easy to orient yourself. There's no extra buildings in the area. There are no other structures. The mountains are obviously designed in a very specific pattern. You see the path you're supposed to take on the ground leading around behind this cabin through the trees and up to the mountain range foothills. And you see the path leading, winding up to the mouth of the cave. And you see yourself on the ground leaning up against the house that you're waiting your friends for outside.
Perfect. Okay. I'll do that while they do whatever they might want to do inside.
What's everybody else doing?
Plotting. I go outside to look.
Ugbor goes and waits by the door. He's going to be the last one out.
Gurky stands up from the couch, bows slightly to Mr. Foster. Thank you, sir. I'm sure we will be in contact soon for a future business. And Foster nods back at him, half bowing, almost in jest, and then straightens back up and holds out his wine glass to a healthy relationship and takes a small sip. And then Gurky walks past Ugborn outside.
Hey, so you don't have to tell us until we get the battery, but what's like the threat assessment for the rest of us?
Let's see. And he picks up the tablet off of the counter, flips the glass over, does some sort of hand gestures halfway.
I'll bet I'm number one.
He starts to do the gestures, looks at you, turns around slowly as he makes some of the gestures and completes the what you're sure is a pattern to activate the glass, and turns back to you and flips through some pages on the glass. Munson was rated a 7, Alfred a 3, Ugbor the half-orc was a 5, Vorhik the elf is unknown, Flint the gnome is unknown, Pelinal the furbolg, healer, threat level 4. Yeah, I think that's it for your party.
Oh, neat. Is it like go up to 10? Is 10 the best?
As far as I assume, and as I recollect, yes.
And Munson is level 7? Munson, tell us your secret!
And I didn't even rank.
Wizards are real strong.
You have to understand that wizards hold other wizards in higher regard as well, so there might be a bias.
That makes a lot of sense. Although, in reality, a sorcerer are much...
We have to come back to find out more. And he winks at you with a smile and a wink that leaves you feeling kind of dirty for some reason.
Well, it was a weird pleasure to meet you. You seem strange, but in a cool way. He like reaches hand out to shake his hand.
Without much hesitation, he will return the favor and shake your hand. As you shake hands, his hands feel very cold.
You alright? He'll like put his other hand on it and like rub it. A little bit cold there.
Quite all right. I am thin-blooded.
Well, make sure you eat something. And Pell just walk out.
Is there anybody else left in the room besides Ugbor? Take that as a no. Ugbor?
No, I believe Flint is still in there, unless he said he left. I might have missed it.
No, I'm disgusted with this guy, and I left.
So, Ugbor, you were the last man in the room with Jacob Foster. And he's
Okay.
standing there expectantly, just watching you.
Okay. Ugbor crosses his legs, twirls so that he's facing the other way, and just bebop a doo doo right on out.
Roll an athletics check, damn it.
And, you leave, and the door closes behind you. And you're now outside. Are you guys going to proceed directly to the Phoenix Den? Or do you have other plans?
What is it? Late afternoon now?
Yeah, it's getting late afternoon. It's about right. Like, the picture is actually current for the time in front of you.
Well, I
Might be prime time to do some firebird hunting.
think. I mean, we're gonna be going up a mountain near dark. Is that the
Mhm.
wise idea?
Based on Mr. Foster's descriptions, it should take you about an hour or so getting there, with Munson having pre-tracked the trail, knowing where to go ahead of time. It saved him some footwork. So you can get there in about an hour or so from here. Good. What are you guys doing?
Well, I hope there you go.
As in bird form, I see people start coming out. I will transport, or I will go back to myself, and be like, okay, well, let's get going then. It's no need to waste another day in the forest of werewolfen, if you know what I'm talking about there, Mr. Rick. Give him a little smile as I keep walking.
Hey, Rick, do you remember that?
Either he's asleep or
You don't remember it.
Flint, you look rather disgusted with him. What's going on with that?
Yeah, he's in my... So. Do you guys want to...
Sorry. Yes. Yes. This whole check for the battery has just gotten to the point where it's almost not even worth going for.
Well, we do have to go deal with a phoenix, so that's in itself a little rough. But
Imagine the adventure, though. Come on. How many people get to go home and say they've killed a phoenix?
you think we're gonna kill a phoenix? I think we're going to destroy.
How many people that try to kill a phoenix get to go home?
Yeah.
All of them. Live or die.
How about this? Here's my little idea. It hates dragons, right? So what if we just have an illusion of a dragon flying around nearby and lure it out of its cave, and then we just sneak in and take the battery and get the fuck out?
I mean, that's also a decent idea.
Didn't they say it was it's kind of smart though?
The keyword was highly intelligent.
Yeah.
It may be considered a highly intelligent strategy to avoid fighting a dragon if you're a phoenix.
I mean, I don't
But
know.
but it,
Dirt all the time.
yeah, but it wouldn't be dirty. It would just be another looking dragon that just be a lower class. It'd be like, yeah, I can beat you in a fight. Come here, pussy. But then again, how would it? I mean, I guess when it saw me in the field, it immediately turned on me. So I don't think it likes Dragonborn very well either. Just anything to do with dragon thing. I don't think that. I think that Phoenix is very dragon racist.
Well, let me ask you as a side point. It's our first week back for a while, and we've only been recording for 3 hours and 20 minutes, but it is 2:30 in my time anyway. How are you guys feeling about our time? Do you want to stop here? Or do you want to keep going?
I got stuff I got to do in the morning.
All right, well that solves it. We'll go ahead and pause it here then, I guess. And I think Rick is already asleep.
Okay. Then, as you guys try to decide what it's worth to you to go retrieve this battery that Flint has already paid for, a good portion of money actually for an artificer, a tinkerer from Shale. You have to make a decision now on whether it's worth that investment or if you should consider it a sunk cost. And as you make these decisions, we'll decide that next time. But for now, Flint, I would like you to open the package I sent you to see what you paid for.
Let me go grab that.
I mean, ultimately, I think that would be Flint's decision to. He's the one who paid for it. So,
So just to confirm, it's me you want to do the thing?
It is you to do the thing, yes. This is what you saw in Jacob Foster's workspace in his cottage, and this is what you paid for. Your Phoenix Fire core. Should you choose to retrieve it?
Nice.
But like I said, that
Plutonium.
is up to you to decide if it's worth your time to go get it, or in exchange for getting it, you'd also get information that could be direly important to you for your upcoming adventures. Or is it more important to you to save the time and effort and stay alive and maybe face other threats that are coming to you sooner? But yeah, we'll see you guys next week and figure that out.